Chairperson, I asked Mr. Matabula to take the committee through the document that we
Okay, Willie, over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Chair, and then good evening to you and also the honorable members of the committee and colleagues as well, the stakeholders. I will be taking through, if we can just fly to the report, the matrix report, or with the comments from stakeholders, so we can then take the committee through. I'll switch off the camera right now, comment shortly.
Can you
Thank you,
see it on
Chair.
your side, Mr. Matabula?
Yeah, there's just, if you can just remove the one part on the left-hand side so that we can just move the report, yeah, that part. Thank you. You just take that off. Great, that's off.
Is it fine now?
Not yet, if you can just, but I can read the document. You can just maybe scroll. You can just scroll down. Great. Okay. Chair is correct that we didn't receive quite a lot of course, comments from stakeholders. These are the ones from NRF, which is an institution within government, PARI, COSATU and SACTU, BUSA, as well as from our colleagues, the DTI. So that's what we'll be taking the committee through. And our response, if you can just scroll down for me, Mr. Mangwen, just scroll down. Yes, that's better. Okay. There was a comment, of course, Chair, around removing the addition of to the procuring institution, and then also reviewing the definition of official to ensure that all instances in which the term official occurs in the draft is comprehensive. So our response there, Chair, is that in this context, the procuring institution refers, the official refers to an official of a procuring institution, as well as the Public Procurement Office and provincial treasuries. The definition of official is limited to employees of a procuring institution. So there's a context in which the official is used in that particular clause of 12.1b. And then also to say just the official refers to an official of the procuring institution, public office, or a provincial treasury. I think that's basically the context in which the word official is used in clause 12.1b. So as a result, we didn't see any need to even amend that particular clause as proposed. But
no, can I suggest, committee members, it might be better if we looked at each one. So when you disagree with National Treasury or you want some clarity, you can, once this particular issue is dealt with, you can come in as you want. There's no need to put your hand up, okay? Thank you. This applies equally to the... are there in Kulileko any of the provincial chairs here? In Kulileko?
Hi, Chair. Yes,
Yeah.
I saw a couple of them coming in, Chairperson.
Right. Can you send me a note and then I'll acknowledge them, right, on WhatsApp?
Okay, Chair.
You are free, colleagues, to speak. There's no need to put your hand up. You can just come in. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, please, Willie. There's nobody asking
Okay,
anything.
you can move to the next one. So of course the next one was in clause 13, Chair, which is the omission of officials or employees of departments in the list of automatic exclusions in section 13. And it says it creates the impression that governmental departments and provincial employees are allowed to submit bids. That's the essence. That's basically what Mr. Grace is saying. And now if you look at clause 13.1c, this is our response. 13.1c provides for a person appointed in terms of section 9 or 12A of the Public Service Act. Of course, officials are appointed in terms of those sections of the Act, the Public Service Act, and therefore excluded automatically from submitting bids or tenders in government. And this refers to all employees in national and provincial departments and government components, as well as special advisors to executive authorities. So that's basically what that particular clause provides. So government officials and so on can submit bids in government, and this is the state even currently. So we can, that clause, of course, provides the necessary clarity in this regard. You can move, Kulego, to the next one.
Anything on that? I take it if you've got anything, you'll intervene. Let's not hold the process up. Provincial chairs, we're not very formal in this committee. We just want the work done, right? So don't put up your hands. Just excuse me, chairperson or Eunice or whatever you want to call me. Thank you.
Okay, the next clause, Chair, refers to clause 26B. And I think Mr. Grace is saying this clause is outstanding. And our understanding is that it's an excellent, clause. It promotes the constitutional requirements of efficiency in the public sector. Now, what it provides is that to consistently apply the standard of efficiency throughout, it may make sense to this deemed clause to other sections to include such parties as the tribunal and the PPO and the Minister of Finance. Furthermore, the addition of giving reasons for the decision, it says it promotes transparency. So that's the first part. He said this is excellent. But then now he wanted us to include the deeming clause to other similar sections in the bill. Like, for instance, the clauses that deal with the tribunal. So our response there is that at least a deeming provision for the tribunal will not be possible due to the nature of its functions. And secondly, we considered including period in the exemption and departure clauses. So that's a proposal that we're making, that at least insofar exemptions and departure clauses, there should be a period, in this case, 30 days after receipt of all relevant documentation. And that is in clause 61 and 62. So basically it means when an application is made to the minister for exemption and or a departure, at least 30 days, within 30 days, at least the minister or anyone who is supposed to grant approval for departure should respond. And of course, based on the submission of all necessary documentation that will, of course, enable the processing of that particular application. So that's what we're saying. But the deeming clause, we said no to it, especially due to the fact that the tribunal has got different rules. I will stop here, Chair, and if there's any other comment.
No, you go ahead, because,
all right.
If somebody picks up on this thing, for what it's worth, I read everything. So, almost I may have missed something slightly, but for the most part, you've covered things reasonably well.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And then clause 24.1a, Roman figure 1, Mr. Grace's literal reading is strategic procurement in other countries, which appears absurd or ambiguous, leading to many interpretations and may thus be void for vagueness. Then he gives some examples that he believes we should, of course, look at, which may create a problem in terms of interpretation. So he's given a lot of those possibilities. Now, what we're saying here, his comment is noted, Chair, and the proposal to amend clause 24(1)(a), Roman figure 1 is submitted for consideration to the committee. And then that's what we're saying. And we're also providing how the wording of that particular clause should be structured, in that the promotion of strategic procurement when procuring in other countries for use in those countries. This basically covers government institutions, special government officials who would be placed in other countries like attachés, or even those that are working for foreign affairs, international relations. At least they should be able to procure in those countries without any inhibition. That's basically what we're saying here. So they can procure in those countries and for the use in those countries, although these are South African, of course, officials. Thank you, Chair. Then the next clause.
I think that's
important, it's a very valid amendment, and it brings clarity. So I do think that it's agreeable and it should be brought. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then
anybody else wants to say anything? Well, there's nothing for me to say. Dennis has covered me. I also thought this must be accepted. Thank you.
The next proposal, Chair, was that on 24(1)(d), there's a proposal to replace the phrase without limiting, with which encourages, where feasible, or the second option, the two options, option 2, the creation of 2 new preference categories, namely new entrants and emerging suppliers, and incorporate into the various mechanisms provided for in Chapter 4. Now, our response that the manner in which that particular clause, 24(1)(d), is a correct legal drafting. Therefore, the proposal is not supported. And then 2, the various preference measures in Chapter 4, as you know, that from clause 17, 18, 19, including 20, of Chapter 4 already cater for these types of suppliers by virtue of the mechanisms provided therein. So we do, the small and emerging suppliers are already covered in those clauses 17, 18, 19, and 20 of Chapter 4. So there is no need for even an inclusion of new entrants or even to call them emerging suppliers. So that's the proposal that we're making there. Thank you, Chair.
Any comments? Hang on. No, okay, carry on.
Yeah, clause 27, of course, it is not clear that the use of members aligns with persons in the definition of a bid committee in Section 1. Now, the question that Mr. Gray is asking, is the term technical expert meant to imply an outsourced and thus external party? Noting that illustration that the NRF has a number of internal technical experts, namely technical experts, does not imply external and outsourced. Now, what we're saying, basically what we're saying here is that the comment is noted and a proposal, of course, to amend clause 27(2) is submitted for consideration. Now, this is how we propose clause 27(2) should read. A procuring institution must ensure that persons who participate in bid committees have the relevant knowledge, skills, and technical expertise to achieve the intended result required during the relevant committee processes. So in other words, the question of bringing in a technical expert externally of government, it's then taken off. So meaning that at least those experts could either be sourced internally within government or, of course, from other state institutions. That's basically, but the key here is that at least there must be some technical expertise in the manner in which tenders are evaluated. That's what we're saying, Chair. And also to note that Summit did bring this point out to say in that clause we must at least allow external experts to sit in the bid committees, especially when it comes to medical technology, those big X-ray machines, scanners, and so on. But at least this is how we think we're covering that particular issue, to make sure that you can source internally if they're experts within a department or other departments internal to government. Thank you, Chair.
Can I just? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, come in.
Can I come in, Chair? Yeah, to me here. No, can I just
Yeah.
understand what we're saying?
Sorry, which to me is this?
To me from CIDB.
Yeah, this is not a what you call a public hearing anymore. It's a committee stage, okay? If we allow you to speak to me, we'll have to allow everybody else. Secondly, we have written to you, my brother, and if you're not happy with our consultation process, you should go to the courts if you so choose, right? But like we got this representation for IRR, I mean, we gave you 2.5 days, right, to reply. And if we already indicated, we're not obliged to do that. And secondly, that, that this is the way it is. You will have to look at the amendments. But when we finish this process, we will check. You see, that's not fair either to me, because everybody knows it's in the committee stage, right? So I think it won't be fair at this stage.
Okay, no, that's fine.
But remember, the bill will be brought back within 24 months, and you can take that up later. Or you can write to the NA committee, right?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Frank, yeah, I'm sorry, my brother. Frank, can you help here? I mean, don't you think at this stage, it opens the door to somebody to complain that those who are fortunate to go to the meeting at 5 p.m. an awkward hour, they participate. It's not fair. It's not equality of participation. Frank, can you help here, please, man?
Chair, yes. I mean, first of all, the rules, if I need to refer to that, is that the committee is in charge of its procedures. So the committee decides on its processes. And my understanding of tonight's meeting, it's not a public hearing. And yes, you are right. Chairperson, we'll have to open it up for comments and change the nature of this meeting if you allow public to participate. Participate more than just the written submissions and then seeing what's happening in the committee now, because they are participating by being here. Parliament has facilitated that, and they have done their written submissions to Treasury, and we are listening to Treasury's responses today. So there's that part. So the nature of the participation is for the committee to decide, and what goes for the goose goes for the gander, Chairperson. So yes, you're right. I think if you want to deal with this bill, and perhaps it spills over to a meeting tomorrow morning for us as officials to finalize the report, to get it in the ATC, to get the bills printed, even electronically, to get them typesetted. We need some time for that, Chair. So it is something that is there, and it's with respect, Chair. It's not with any disrespect that I'm saying this. Thank you.
Okay, but we are finishing tonight, obviously, even if you have to sit for longer. So to me, you can write to the NA committee. They will receive it on Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, and you can write to the chair via the secretary, the A. Wickham. And Inkululeko will help you with the email details. We don't have them. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Then the next point, please. Can we move on?
Hi, Chair.
Just
There's a hand from Stan.
Yeah, sure, Dennis.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Nkululeko.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Tumelo said that he was from CIDB, which is an internal stakeholder and possibly trying to enrich. And I'm not sure. He ran through it very quickly. So was it the actual one of the public stakeholders, or was it part of government that was trying to interject and just get clarity, perhaps from the committee or something from? I mean, we are passing an act where we've written to the CI, or we intend writing to the CIDB. etc. So I don't know if I misheard, or if I maybe can be his or advocate on his behalf.
Yeah, but Dennis, we've covered this ground. It'll be wrong to give somebody. I'm not covering that ground. What's his name? Frank has already done so. We have to be fair.
Accept. No, that's
Right.
fine.
But no, Dennis, but hang on. Can we know whether you're a government functionary? That means NRF could have come here and others, but just for clarity's sake, to me, are you representing a government institution?
Yes, correct, Chair. I sit on the board of the CIDB, but that was not even, I was just asking for clarity, for understanding. So not even making suggestion or challenging, but it's fine. Yes.
No,
thanks.
hang on. No, you're fine. Frank, what do you suggest?
Chairperson, we are here now. It is in your hands. If it doesn't open up the whole process to delays, if it's a short answer, of course, Chair. I mean, then everybody will be happy and we can move forward.
Yes,
so,
but no, it's not the length of the answer. It's the process we're in.
yes.
But given we've spent so much of time, to me, you want clarity. Okay, fine. So that's different,
Thanks.
right? So then anybody here who's a stakeholder can say, I want clarity. And they can't use it as an excuse to bring up their points. Actually, if I have to be frank, colleagues, what I read, 90% of it, or 80% of it at least, is the same things that were raised before. Right? In the IRR case, we've covered all of those issues, and others too, right? So, okay, fine. Clarity, what is your issue, Fred?
Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to understand. Here we are saying that going forward, we won't have consultants and so on sitting in bid committees and so on as it used to be. So if you need external technical expertise, it must be from internal government. Am I understanding that correctly? That's what I wanted to just understand.
No, that's not what we're saying, Chair, if I may respond.
Go right ahead, obviously.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying here. The comment here by Mr. Grace was that the manner in which clause 27 was structured implied that technical experts would only be coming from external to government, outside government. That's basically, that's a question that he was asking. And then he's proposing that because some government departments have got adequate internal expertise, which may not necessarily need to procure external expertise, technical expertise. So that's a point that is making. And we're saying at least this comment that is making is noted. If that's how clause 27, the manner in which it's written, implies that technical experts should only come from outside government. So what we're doing now in the proposed amendment is to cover both, to simply say, whenever anybody participates in a bid committees, at least that committee should have the relevant knowledge, skills, and technical expertise, regardless of whether you're sourcing them internally or you're sourcing them externally. That's basically what we say. Thank you, Chair. I think that's a clarity that I'm trying to bring to the fore.
I think you covered. Right. Can we move on, please?
All right. So can move to the next one. Yeah. Then the next one, Chair, was on clause 47, where he's proposing insertion. This is, of course, around the tribunal, insertion of new section 47.4. And he says the tribunal must, in writing, within 60 days to respond, respond to the application for review by the bidder and giving reasons for the decision, failing which rejection will be deemed to be granted to the bidder that made the request. Now, what we're saying here, the amendment to clause 47 is actually not supported, because if you look at clause 51.3a, the panel for review proceedings envisaged in section 47 or 48 must make an order in terms of subsection 1 within 30 days after the submission of the application for review. On request by the chairperson of the panel, the chairperson of the tribunal may extend the 30-day period for not more than, I think is a 30-day period for more than 30 days, for not more than 30 days. So there already is a provision in clause 51.3 of the bill that addresses these issues. So that's what we're saying there. And then if there are any comments, of course, Chair.
They will come in. Yeah,
all right.
I agree with you, actually, but others can come if they feel the need.
And then in clause 56.8, Roman figure 8, he proposed that we change the videographs to be replaced with videos. And we support that amendment. And as a result, therefore, we've made that replacement of videographs with videos.
Yeah, good.
All right. And then in clause 61C, he wanted the removal, proposed the removal of the words appointed time for the public to be replaced with formal. The revised formulation would therefore read as follows. Then he's proposing how it should read. Now, what we then did, instead of using the word formal, we used the term official public opening. I think we discussed this earlier on to say, in certain instances, especially if you're looking at the construction-related projects, some of them should be opened publicly in the spirit of transparency. Now, that's what we then proposing to have in clause 61C by replacing the word appointed time for the public with official public opening.
Good. Anybody wants to comment here? Nope. Right, let's go on. I think we agree.
Okay. Then the next one that he made comment on was on clause 61, where he wanted us to, to insert a new section 61.4 to read as follows. The minister must, in writing within 60 days, respond to the application for exemption by the procuring institution, giving reasons for the decision, failing which exemption will be deemed to be granted to the procuring institution. Now, the proposed the inclusion of 30 days after receipt of all documentation. So that's basically what we'll propose there, the proposed inclusion of 30 days after receipt of all documentation.
I think that makes sense, really. Colleagues, have an issue with this. I don't know why we didn't think of it. Anybody can explain that? Hands up. Big mouth.
Because we're not legally trained legislation.
No, that's a policy issue. Come. We've done this in thousands of bills, either because it came like that from the government department or we said it. Yeah, okay. We are very embarrassed about this. Thank Mr. Grace. I like his enthusiasm. He's also very persistent. Yeah, okay. That's good. Yeah. Okay, can we go on?
And then the clause 62, he also proposed it.
Yeah. That's straightforward, right? We agree with the previous one. Good. Let's move on.
Yeah. To say we'll, of course, include that. And then in clause 65, at least here we just bring, he's saying Treasury to target additional, let me just quickly look at additional critical activities, if any, which require writing in addition to those 6 sections, which contain such a requirement and limit this requirement to such sections. And they said we must delete this clause. Now we're saying the purpose of the provision is to have a written record of, among others, requests made in terms of the Act, i.e. where the term request is used. This is to have proof, calculate periods where applicable, and avoid disputes in this regard. So verbal is used in 2 instances to deal with unlawful actions. So that's basically what is contained in clause 61. I don't know if then we can then move to the next one. This one is pari now. So we're done with NRF, then we pari. Paris said, of course, we recognize municipality claims for autonomy and concerns about being inundated with disruptive instructions. But we believe that a blanket exclusion from the reach of instructions may have serious unintended consequences, especially with regard to municipalities that do not meet appropriate standards of compliance, performance, and capacity. So, Chair, this one is something that was dealt with. Of course, it was brought by stakeholders to say, at least it seems like the bill has got some overreach in the sense that it tampers with the powers of the municipalities. So what we then did, we removed, at least the compulsory instructions and circulars to municipalities, I mean, to be in line with the Constitution. But Paris says, go back there, make sure that instructions that you issue also, are binding to municipalities. But we say these amendments are not supported, obviously, for constitutional reasons. The proposed amendments contained in the D bill, in clause 5 and 6, were to address constitutional concerns about infringing on constitutional powers of local government. It is important to note that the regulations made under 63 will apply to municipalities and municipal entities. So basically what it means, Chair, is that for instructions and all these secular subordinate instruments, those will not apply to municipalities, but the regulations as well as the act itself will apply to municipalities. But at least when we issue circulars would be subject to adoption by councils, because this is what Section 156 of the Constitution provides. Thank you, Chair. I think we can move with that issue. Then in clause 6.
But COSATU raised the same issue, didn't they?
Yes.
That municipalities are the big problem, and you're excluding them. You're giving them the right to choose. So it overlaps with COSATU. Unfortunately, there are constitutional issues, as you rightly say. So I'll let COSATU know about that. But in principle, I agree with them. Because the weakest link is local government, and there's so many of the municipalities. But fine, there's nothing we can do, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at least, Chair, the good thing is that the regulations and act will apply to them.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
All right. It's very important. And then in clause 6, Paris says, in relation to changes made to section 6, we are similarly concerned about a blanket exclusion of provincial treasuries with regard to an enforcement role over municipalities. The same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Can we move on?
Yeah, because clause 5 relates to the Public Procurement Office, and then clause 6 relate to provincial treasurers having to issue binding instruction to municipalities. I mean, for the same reason that we've just highlighted above. That's a reason why we do not support this. So, of course, also just to know that the regulations and act will apply, but your subordinate instruments like circulars, of course, would be subject to adoption by councils in line with the provisions of the Constitution. Thank you, Chair. We can then move to the next one. Then in chapter 4, Paris says it may be pertinent to note that chapter 4 currently makes no reference to open competition to be adjudicated through a preferential point system. In other words, it appears that if section 17, 18, and 19 do not apply, then the framework in chapter 4 does not enable evaluation on the basis of preference points, and procuring institutions could only lawfully consider effectiveness, cost effectiveness, capability, functionality, and technical requirements. So what we're saying is the evaluation criteria will be prescribed, as we've said in chapter 4, in all those provisions, and then to be read together with clause 24.1d. Therefore, there is no need for a preference point system at this stage. That will be prescribed, but at least 24.1d does make provision that when you evaluate a tender, at least you should consider cost effectiveness, a capability of a particular service provider, the functionality, and the technical requirements. I mean, all those things in combination will, of course, form the criteria against which bids would be evaluated. And, of course, the criteria that would be prescribed in regulations in respect of Chapter 4. Then, Clause 21D, 24.1D, what part says, in relation to Section 21D, if evaluation is construed as including all processes through which the appropriateness of a supply is considered, we submit that cost effectiveness, capability, functionality, and technical requirements must all be evaluated to maintain adherence to Section 217 of the Constitution. I think we debated this, Chair, previously, and we support this. And then, of course, we'll include amendment in clause 24.1D.
Anybody have an issue with that? Nope. Good.
We can then move to the next one. This one is a proposed new provision in the bill. The bill already establishes a requirement of review of implementation and amendment in relation to regulations as per, for example, Section 17.2. The committee has agreed that this act as a whole should have a review of implementation and supplementary amendments after a period of time. And we believe this agreement can be entrenched in the act as follows. So, Chair, this is the same argument that has been made, submission made by COSA to say bring back the bill to neglect. That's what they say. Now, we had a different view around hard coding such process into legislation is not advisable. So when I was including such a provision in the legislation itself, our view was that this is not advisable. Now, the regulation making process and the implementation need to take place first before there would be a clear picture about amendments to the Act that should be initiated. Thereupon, the proposed amendments to the Act must go through the required executive processes, including public consultation and neglect. It is submitted that the proposed inclusion, of course, compelling Parliament to pass supplementary amendments to the Act would be unconstitutional. That's an issue, Chair, but I'm sure the essence there is that at least not in the bill, but in the report itself, we can include a provision that the bill should come back for public consultation after a certain period, including, of course, subjecting to the neglect process as one of the stakeholders. Thank you, Chair.
Any comment on this? No. Okay. No. Listen, Willie, I did speak to MP and said, I think the majority will agree that some mild version must be put in there for the following reasons, as Kosato said. One, you might have a new minister. Two, you might have a completely new committee on both sides. Three, it's not binding, it's a guide. Four, Frank, I think we have had this in the bill before. If we haven't had it, then, maybe you can explain why we can't do it. You see, when National Treasury is not desirable, that's their view. Parliament must decide. And what I want him to consider, and MP, is a soft version, which simply says that the bill should be reviewed within 24 months, including through appropriate consultation with stakeholders to see if any amendments are necessary or whatever, something like that. Now, firstly, let's start with this. It may not be desirable, but has this not been carried in some bills? We're not going to mention first phase bill and all that. What does that mean in law? But can't we have a soft one-liner that says the bill must come back in some form or another? But within 24 months. Yeah, Dennis?
Sorry, Chair, I missed your invitation to comment because I was busy typing the part of a response, but it's not quite that simple. Chair, and I do think that there's general agreement from a number of stakeholders. So it's PARI, it's COSATU, and it is elsewhere in this document as well, where people are saying that this review that we've spoken about, or the checking of the implementation, is important. Now, Chairperson, I do understand and I accept that it is the role of the NCOP to have oversight over the impact of legislation once it is implemented. And this is certainly something that we should be doing, and it's been part of the discussions that we've had within the NCOP over the last 5 years as we're struggling to find our role and ensure that we that we become much more than just a carbon copy of the NA in terms of the processes that we follow. So I accept that it is within our space that we need to review this as well as the NCOP. But I do think that based on the process that has been followed between NEDLAC's kind of consultation and agreement, and then the B bill being landed on our desks, I think that there is a need for us to say, hold on a second, the consultation that happened in this process has been flawed, and we've gone backwards and forwards about
Excuse me. Somebody needs to mute, please. Nicolele, can you help us there? Somebody needs to mute, please. Right. Carry on. Oh dear. Who's this?
Good. So,
Comrade Linda.
Thank you.
My friend. Yeah, okay, sister. Yeah, thanks.
Yes,
Yeah.
Honorable Karim.
So,
I
think that because of the fact that was highlighted.
And we could hear your entire family history. Okay, just teasing you. Okay, what's happened to Dennis now? Oh dear,
Yeah,
he's
thank you very much. No, I'm still here.
Okay, you made the point. What else you want to say?
No, well, essentially, Chair, I think that because of the NEDLAC process, which was highlighted when it came to us, and the raft of changes that happened in the production of the B bill, which came to the NCOP, which were then not taken back to to NEDLAC, etc., and the short period of time that was given for consultation, public consultation preparations during our processes, I think it is extremely relevant that we that we do make this a little bit more binding than just a committee report inclusion. So I would certainly support the drafting of something that would say something along the lines of within 24 months, this thing needs to go through a proper formal review and further consultation with a report coming back to the committee, committees of both houses, in fact, to discuss, what the further inputs have been, and potentially to draft another bill. But I do think that also needs to have a timeline, because it's all good and well to have a report after 2 years, but or to commission a report after 2 years. But I think that report needs to be presented to committee, and then the committees need to decide how soon thereafter a redrafting of the bill needs to be done, if ever. So yes, I'm fully in support of that. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, but you're making it complicated. You know why? You're talking about a reviewed process, a report, and then a decision, whether you're going to have a bill or not. It's even more complicated in my view. I just think, Dennis, what we've been saying in the report and in discussions, the first phase bill, within 24 months, look at any appropriate amendments and bring the bill back through negotiations. Now, I don't think you can say NEDLAC in the bill, because already people think if NEDLAC's decided, therefore, that's what should happen. I think the problem is less that the National Assembly Committee made changes, which is their right. They're not a subcommittee of NEDLAC. Maybe they did it, I don't know, too fast, or maybe there wasn't enough time, and maybe members from civil society think that what we do in our committees in the NA, every committee is required to do, but it's not the kind of case. And in the NCOP, there's been no need for this process. As far as I know, we're the only committee that does that thing on the NA side, and the committees that I've served in. Maybe other committees do it like that, but I don't know. So we are making amendments, which is something probably we need to put in the report, right? We have to find under public, we're making changes to the bill, even on the day we're voting. It's not the first time. I'm not covering that ground, it's boring, right? I've said it 3 or 4 times. So I think a soft thing in the bill. So let's start with you, Frank. They say it's not desirable, but is it doable?
Chair, yes, it's doable. I'm not 100% sure if I remember correctly, but wasn't it with either the VAT or the increase in the VAT or the sugar tax, which we require?
Yeah, I think you're right. We said it has to come back. Yeah, I think so. But when it was in the bill, I can't recall. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Frank. If it's doable, can you and MP do a formulation today?
Yeah, MP has.
Right?
MP emailed me something. She has something ready. Thank you, Chair. I hope I'm
Oh,
not
yes,
speaking
of course.
out of place here, but
Yeah, bring it. No, that's right. She did send me something. But by the way, I've been tapping away on my typewriter while I'm not typewriter, my computer, because of all this problems I've been having with my Apple computer, and I've put things into different what's this? What you call them? Folders, and I got not this one, this one, because MP. Let's not go there. A certain person. Something doesn't connect with your computer and mine. So every time I've got to send it to Saleh Smith, who even does it up till 5 to 5. So when you open the wrong one, then it's got that beach ball again. I don't want to bore you with my stuff, but hopefully MP and I never see each other after today. Okay, as much as she's been an excellent, as has Willie, person for National Treasury. Right, let's come back to this. Can you flight that thing now, or do you want to flight it at the end, MP? Let's just finish and then we come back to this.
Yeah.
In Kululeko, you'll remind us.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Next
what
one.
I was proposed. Thanks, Chair. Let's move to the next one. This is COSATU and SATU, by the way. You can just move to the next. Scroll down. All right. The next one is clause 5.2a and b.
There's an echo, but you have to live with it.
Yeah.
We can live with the echo,
says,
colleagues. Yeah. Okay, fine. Somebody will interrupt if they can't live with it.
Yes.
But go ahead, please. Yes, COSATU says what now?
COSATU says we're concerned by 5.2a and b, which exempt municipalities from
we
being
covered
bound
that. Can we move on? Yeah.
It's the same thing
Let's
that
go
we
on.
just discussed now.
Yeah.
So,
Let's go on, please.
all right, chapter 4. COSATU said it's still not necessarily clear from the bill that section 17, 18, and 19 are mutually exclusive and cannot be applied simultaneously, that is layered on top of one another. If they are layered, this could cause enormous complications for procurement.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Now what we say in our response that the provisions in chapter 4 are meant to be implemented in a staggered manner within the context of the prescribed threshold. So in other words, I think, Chair, it's important to underline prescribed thresholds because that's how it is. I mean, if you look at clause 17, there would be a threshold for set aside. It's not an open-ended. So only then that if the whatever projects or bids or tenders above that threshold, so do you move to the next area. But then we say the set-aside provisions are meant to achieve a representation of the economically active population of the Republic by providing an entry point to economic activities within the public sector as, of course, the biggest spender. And then clause 17 is intended to operate within that threshold which is envisaged to be the lowest threshold of the three provisions, namely clause 17, 18, and 19. And as indicated previously, clause 17 is then meant to accommodate and facilitate ease of entry to the market without it disproportionately skewing the market. And then clause 18 will operate at a higher threshold, so higher than 17, than the set aside provisions. It is about
Really, you've covered this so many times. Others raised it in the first process, right?
Yeah.
Members want a long explanation.
Mm.
And we've also put it in the report.
Yes.
The draft where I asked you, National Treasury, can you explain this thing? You did, and I think it's reasonably clear. But in the second phase, maybe you want to look at that carefully and put an extra line or something in. But, you know, it's clear what you've been saying, and it's there in the report, and you're explaining things we've covered at great length. Does anybody want to listen to this again? No, William, sorry.
No problem, Chair.
Don't get depressed.
Especially not with the echo, Chair, then we hear it twice more.
I don't know what you've done, if you got into another room or what, Willie. But you suddenly is echoing, but fine. Let's go on. What are we going to do?
That's fine. So, and then also there is a view for certain clause 24. They say they welcome the inclusion or in section 24 of a framework of elements against which to judge the procurement relating to price, of course. And then the proposal is supported. And then there is, of course, clause 24(1)(b) should be compulsory and include the term must and not may. So that's what we've proposed. As COSATU has proposed that we should use
we agree with that.
Yeah.
You know what? I picked this up some while back and I forgot to raise it. Correct. Although I think in my report, I did put it in red for you to comment on and for the staff on our side, but it fell away. But actually, I agree. Does anybody have a problem with that? Good. Let's move on.
Yeah. Then in clause 28(2)(a), this is about the ICT system. They wanted us to include the word online in clause 28(2)(a) and also add information. And our response is saying the ICT system will go online in any way. And secondly, clause 28(2)(f) does not provide for information to be accessed. I'm sorry, it does provide for information to be accessed. Therefore, it is not necessary to add the term and information. So it's basically what I'm saying, an ICT system.
Anybody have a problem with that response? No. Can we move on?
Then clause 31, they welcome the changes in 31 to Roman figure 5, amongst others. Nevertheless, we are concerned that some of the bill's clauses might remain ambiguous and could be open to misinterpretation. Then we say see provisions the response to comment on clause 28 above. So we've already spoken to clause 28 around the ICT issues. And also, Chair, I think the fact that at least the bill will come back for further scrutiny, phase 2 thereof, some of these issues will be addressed. Thank you, Chair. Then that concludes COSATU. Then BUSA. BUSA proposed, a new definition or revised definition for procurement. But what we're saying here, of course, paragraph B of clause 1 applies where goods or services are acquired for constructing, repairing, or maintaining infrastructure or capital assets. And then we propose an amendment. As of course, to cater for what BUSA is saying. So there's a new proposed amendment of what procurement means. And that is covered in the very last column. The acquisition of goods or services for construction, repair, maintenance of infrastructure or capital assets. The acquisition of goods or services other than goods or services referred to in paragraph A. And then C, the acquisition of infrastructure or capital assets, or the letting or disposal of assets. So this is a new proposed definition of procurement, based on what BUSA said. And then we can,
Can we ask members what they have? I can't see any issue unless our staff can do so. with what you got here. I can't. So unless somebody else can, I think we're going to agree with this. Anybody have an issue with that? Nope. Can we move on, please?
Really?
Sorry. Yeah, Dennis, what do you want to say?
No, it's kind of short notice. Busy reading.
We can come back to this. Fine. Remember,
Yeah,
we're not voting on the bill.
we came back to this. Just give us a chance to have a good look at the bill.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to it when we start looking at the bill. So, you know, when people are giving negotiating mandates, some of them came with no reports. You know, by the time we do that, you'll have enough time. Okay. Next point.
And then the next point, of course, Chair, is around Chapter 4. See note at the beginning, this Busana of Chapter 4 for consideration, which is a possible omission premised on an inadvertent lack of knowledge of all of the scoring elements as contained in the codes. Now, what we're saying here, the important issue here is that the bill makes provision for the BBB Act in the preamble. We've included that, and in Chapter 4 as well, which then aligns the bill and the BBB Act. Further clarification will be provided in regulations when necessary. So in other words, the B Act and the bill have now been aligned through the preamble and also in Chapter 4. Now further, we're saying the provisions the bill are drafted in the manner that provide for direct empowerment of the person or categories of persons, including youth, Black people who are youth and youth in geographical areas, and Black youth in geographical areas. These preference measures are aligned with the objectives of the YES initiative, which is to promote job creation, because that's what they're referring to, the YES initiative by the president. So we're saying, if you look at those clauses in Chapter 4, they already cover all these issues that we're talking about here. Then we can move to the next one.
There?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, they'll come to you.
Thank you, Chairman. I've said it many times before. The short and the long is when certain groups are benefiting from this, and there's preference for them, then other groups are being left behind, and it's being discriminated against them. So obviously we do not agree with this bill. The tender process must be free and fair for all to complete, irrespective of their skin color. I mean, we can go into the debate of people that were born after 1994. I mean, I have definitely not benefited from apartheid. But yes, we do not agree with this. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, no, whatever you said is there. I don't think I changed a single word, except I think a da or something. It's in the report. Okay, can we go on, please?
All right, and then we can move to the next one. Now, this is our colleagues at DTI. Basically, what they're saying here, clause 16.3, this section provides a perverse incentive for some procuring institutions not to implement government objectives embedded in sections 17, 18, or 19. I think what they're saying is the only requirement that this section provides for procuring institutions record and report the reasons for deviations to the Public Procurement Office and relevant treasurer. Now, I'm just going to simplify this here, just clarify. What DTI is saying here is that because there is a provision that if procuring institutions are not able to implement either of the set-asides in 17, pre-qualification, or 19, then they must provide reasons to the PPO and the relevant treasurer. Now they believe that this will encourage people not to comply with these provisions and simply raise reasons of why this can't be done, why they shouldn't be set aside and so on. That's basically what this comment is all about. Now, our response is that clause 16.3 is drafted in recognition of the fact that it may not always be possible for these preference measures to be applied. For example, there may not be suppliers in the market for particular goods or services that are being procured. It is similar to the provision in the subcontracting laws that recognize that it may not always be feasible to subcontract. The requirement to report is intended to ensure that where these preference measures cannot be applied, the PPO or the relevant treasury would then be in a position to guide and support officials and procuring institutions to ensure compliance with this act. So basically, our response is saying, yes, we understand that these compulsory provisions, but at the same time, we know that there could be certain instances where this can't be met. And therefore, this is how these provisions have been written, to also cater for instances where it may not always be possible to set aside or to qualify or even to subcontract. And therefore, but at least there must be an obligation on procuring institutions to report such, so that the PPO and the relevant treasury may, invoke the necessary.
Yeah, you've covered a lot of this. Yeah, I think you're repeating a lot. We've been through this from different angles. So, what is your essential, ultimate decision on this? That's what's important.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you there, William?
I see a hand there. From our side, we don't think there is any need to change clause 63.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate position to be taken.
Good. Let's move on.
Sorry, just on that.
Yeah, come in there, Dennis. Sure.
It's quite concerning to me that we have got another government department, a whole government department, as they say, that's raising concerns around these issues. And even more so the fact that it is the DTI raising concerns around paragraph 17, 18, or 19, which they kind of have dual responsibility and accountability for. And to me, it's very concerning that we're passing an act, or we're being asked to pass a bill and make it into an act, when Cabinet is not on the same page on this one. I mean, that's delightful cannon fodder for opposition parties, but I think this concern needs to be taken quite seriously, and I'm not sure, Chair. Yeah, so I have to be very honest, and I wanted to ask a question today: if Nkululeko is paid per email that he sends out, because the volume of content that got pushed out to us today was quite overwhelming. But was this the full text of the DTI's comments? Has it been summarized here by Treasury, or is this a full text? Because to me, Chair, it's very worrying at this stage to get a dissenting view again from within government.
Yeah. Okay. Firstly, this has happened a lot over the years. It's not new. Secondly, the issue Dennis raises is genuine. Why have they come at this last minute? I think that should be answered. They were here last week, Friday as well. Thirdly, what I was thinking was that this matter be put into the report to be taken further on the NA side. Can I remind colleagues, this is hardly the end of the process. It's going to go back to the NA. And Tumi's been asked to raise his issue there. He should write to them in the first instance. And this issue, exactly as it is, should be referred to the National Assembly. Also, one can ask DTIC, not only why did they raise it so late here, why didn't they raise it in the NA process? Why didn't they raise it through their minister, because they were consulted on this bill, in the cabinet process? These are issues the executive must answer. Then we get dumped, as I have said, in many public meetings in the House. I'm not public, in plenaries, you can find I'm not the only one. We've had worse things, Dennis, over the years. And we have been tough and saying to them, hey, you are one cabinet, one ANC. What's your issue here? Now, what happens, Dennis, in my experience, Frank is familiar with this. You see, when people lose out in the cabinet process on something, they come to Parliament and they raise issues, right? We have raised this in the ANC structures over the years because it was happening far more, Dennis. It's the first time we've got it. I think particularly we had this experience on the Financial Sector Regulation Bill, on the Municipal Systems Bill, where Finance and COCTA, they're called department. So we've been through this before. I don't think we should dump this point. I was going to suggest that we move it to the report and ask the NA to look further into it. When I read this, as for the stuff we got, a lot of that was given in earlier times. In other words, Lovalo started giving us the stuff. The bills were all given to us on Friday and the C version on Saturday. All that's happened now is that the changes that they have agreed to make, they have put into the C version of the bill. So you got it later. So while the documents have been coming, frankly, there's a lot of overlap in the documents, really, Dennis. And I don't think a chairperson can just like be battered and pushed to pass a bill if the chairperson feels that the bill is not ready. But I am quite clear. Like, look, you see, if you look at the issues that the IRR raises, 90% of it is the same. As I say to Fani and to yourself, but to a lesser extent, but to IRR in the previous letter, you know what? We could sit here for, it's not about time. You see, he says, and he sends it to us today, the person is a full-time functionary. He writes extremely well. He's very eloquent, okay? I mean, there's no obligation on us to give him anything to respond to in terms of the rules. There's no obligation on him to reply. And what he replies at the last moment, I had to read it, was like 90% the same thing. I asked him in that letter, which was sent to you, right? I Friday afternoon, I think, Saturday, I wrote that letter in between my election campaign work, right? And I said to him, as you'll see, there are philosophical and ideological, not just policy differences. And I think I implied, and I'm doing it now, and saying it, even if we sat for another 8 months, and he had 8 more months to write a letter, there's a fundamental difference. That's like, you know, like the ANC will never agree to those things. And it's not about time. I'm saying, and I'll write to him again tomorrow, or maybe on Thursday. So when you look at the documents, Dennis, we've all been busy in the campaign. But remember, I have to look at all these documents. And there's a lot of overlap in them, really. And on this one, I think you are right. And maybe I will say it like you said it, which is fair, right? That something like the committee expresses its serious concern that the DTI has this issue with Pearl and has come to us at the last stage. I hope Poppy is writing all this down, eh? Poppy, you're doing a draft. Frank, can you help as well, right? And you can word it more elegantly, Poppy and Frank. And believes that these differences should have been settled in a cabinet process. And it's not clear why it was not raised in the SCOF process. Full stop. However, we refer this matter to the National Assembly to take further and recommend that National Treasury meets with DTIC as soon as possible, but in time for the NA processing the bill, Frank. But the reply that Willie gives is reasonably fine. I don't know, Dennis, that if we spent another few hours, and we can do that, I'm cool. I've exempted myself from a meeting that starts at 19:30 election meeting. I don't think we need to. So Dennis, I do share your view, but I've been through this many, many times. And the leader of government business was also alerted about this. We had a meeting of chairs some few years ago with the then leader of government business. And I think it was done with another leader of government business, that you guys must sort your act out, guys in the many senses of the word. So I share your frustration. But Willie, now out with it. Why are they coming now? And why didn't you all settle this issue in the whole process before? I mean, then we have to have last week. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Can I respond, Chair? Maybe.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, just to be fair to the DTI, I think what the DTIC received the D bill, because I mean, remember they had the B bill, which was different. I mean, during the processes, then they received the D bill. Now they are commenting on the D bill. So I don't think they had an opportunity to take this thing to public and so on. They just complain. I mean, commenting like any other person who may have an interest in this. So that would be the plausible, the only plausible response to this. The D bill that was issued last week, they commenting on it, Chair. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. You know, Dennis is really in like, I thought he had an exhaustive day. High mode, yeah. Simple that okay, that's on the draft consultation. But it is insensitive, very funny. It was asked on a light note. Why are you on the big bucks? Who's either me as the chairperson? All right, fine. If you want to know, I give 20% of yeah, no, hang on. I'm reading his message, please. 17, 18 aware products of the NA committee. So what? That's their right. You got members there, George and whoever. What do they do about it? Fine. Dennis, don't start the whole story again, right? We're very happy to leave you on this platform after we finish, and you can carry on speaking for the next 3 hours. Willie and MP will sit here and not listen to you. Okay, fine. Your last point is not new. You've been obsessed with that, and I understand. You're right. That's the sort of kernel of this bill. And so has been my friend, the Freedom Front Plus, Funny. Right. So, where are we now? Well, you heard what we're saying. We're putting it in the report, okay?
Yeah.
And be tough, Poppy. No soft wording here. I hear it mentioned that they heard it, but this matter can go to the NA and I think, Dennis, you are right that we need more time to deal with this. But you know, when I listened to Willie, and I read this thing, Dennis, I read this whole thing, right? I must say, when I looked at it, some of the things Dennis said, I didn't know he'll pick this up, was my irritation too. But now having listened to you, I'm less irritated. But I still feel these issues could have been dealt with. They have a good firm handle of this bill as DTI. So, you know, and when I saw your reply, I thought it was reasonable. But okay, Dennis, we had it over to the NA, and it'll come back to us anyway. Okay, fine. Let's move on.
Thank you, Chair. Then the last part, of course, of this matrix report is clause 18.4, where he made also some sort of, DTI is making some kind of proposals to change. And which we're saying the comment is noted and the proposal has been submitted for consideration. So there is a proposal to amend clause 18.4. Thank you, Chair. To deal with that other issue. They only raised 2 issues. Thank you very much. I think that takes us to the end of the comment matrix from stakeholder. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah, but then the clause we need from you is the one on putting that thing in the bill, about 24 months. And then Dennis wants some more time. We'll have to come back to that one. MP, you noted it, right? I work from my computer. Yeah. I did put 2 question marks there, but I see I put it in the wrong place. Okay, fine. So we got 2 issues outstanding. Bring us your version on the screen, please, of the 24-month story.
Okay, I'll do that, Chair, if that's fine.
Dennis, just to give you some information, I can't remember when it was. I think Child Justice Act. We just said no. No, this is not our issue. And the NCOP didn't pick it up either. I think the cabinet minister and his DG, they're like, I don't know what happened. maybe the Department of Justice minister told them off and they never came back. Because I remember checking with the NCOP and they didn't come back. Okay, so let's look at this now, colleagues. Don't have to read it out. Within 2 hours, published as an act in the Gazette. Review the implementation and the need for amendments to the act. Consult stakeholders, including NEDLAC, during the review. 30 months now you're jumping to. Also, you're prepared to mention NEDLAC here. But the problem with this is the colleagues who take part in these processes think that if it's a NEDLAC, that's it. I don't like 30 months, but I don't know what do the majority say. Within 24 months of this act is first published, review the implementation of this act and the need for amendments. Why is it just review the implementation? Okay, put that in, review the implementation of this act. Frank, can you help us now, man? What I thought would be the case, you're going to review not just the implementation, but the act itself. So can the
sorry.
Let's start with that. Colleagues, do you agree with that or not? It's not just the implementation. Maybe the policy issues to be looked at as well. Well, they're not saying anything. So if they're not saying anything, then you take it that this is a view of the majority, meaning one person, until others say anything. Can we look at that now? You got implementation, right, on the screen. Can you change the wording?
Jeez, I may ask, it continues with and the need for amendments to this act.
Oh, yes, of course. And the need for amendments. Yes, sorry, I withdraw that. I'm opening a big mouth for nothing. Dennis, you should have shut me down. In Kololeko, you said, hey, what's wrong with you, Eunice? It's there. Poppy should have said, so, okay, consult stakeholders, including NEDLAC. Yeah, somebody wants to speak. Is it Willie?
Yeah, it's me, Chairperson. It's actually the wording of implementation that corresponds to Parliament's obligation in terms of, NA and NCOP separately, where we must have oversight over the implementation of legislation. Yeah. So it has a connection in the Constitution as well, that word of implementation.
But you want it left there?
Well, Chair, it really is going to depend on how people perceive it. But from where I'm sitting and how the Constitution would see it, there's the Bill of Rights. We know what the details are. We also have Section 195 that's referred to in the Act, and we have Section 217 in the Act. So when we're thinking of implementation, I mean, the implementation is not just, did you get an unqualified audit report? There's also a performance report. It's also, did you achieve the objectives that you were sitting on? So it's broad. Thank you.
We leave it as it is?
I think so.
Good. Right. Consult stakeholders, including NEDLAC. Okay. Leave it there. They seem fine with that. Within 30 months.
Can we include SELGA, NEDLAC and SELGA? I think it might be appropriate.
NEDLAC is main for now because it brings all the national NEDLAC and SELGA. But don't you have to consult with SELGA anyway? NEDLAC is nothing in the bill. Why do you want to say SELGA? Is it necessary, Frank? Because it's there. Everything has to be consulted with SELGA.
Yes, it's in the Act, Chair, that they should consult. And
so can we drop that?
They get consulted on what's on the local government issue, not on all the things. I mean, SELGA is a more limited.
Yeah. So look, SELGA will be consulted anyway. Dennis, unless you feel strongly, can we just leave it as it is? Then within 30 months, all right, we'll settle for 30 months. Why do you need 6 months to publish this report?
Gee, I just thought there may be time after the review, and okay, it must happen within 24 months, that there may be time to prepare the report. One can make it less, maybe.
Yeah, why don't you make it within
another 3 months, 27.
3 months, yeah. Good. Are we agreeing on this version? I really must thank Kosatu. I was thinking about it and then it just slipped my mind. Good. Is this okay, colleagues?
Sure, yeah. Look, it kind of brings home the point that this committee might be passing a flawed bill back to the NA, and that ties in as well with some of your earlier comments. But But if this bill gets passed, then this is an important inclusion. So
yeah, we agree. Okay, we
it's
agree.
an escape clause almost. Yeah.
No.
I'm
It's a
good
strategy.
with the way it
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
it's a strategy. You can use the word escape clause. You think we're being insincere. I can tell you now, Dennis, you don't know me at all. If I was back here, right, I would say immediately wouldn't one where's the thing and so on. Now, you know what? Depends on who's the chair of this committee. If it's somebody who's I know and reasonable, I will raise it with him, okay? Or her, or them. And you know what? Dicolady is going to be here, hopefully on the NCOP side, even though she'll hopefully make the NA side.
Yo, Didimal.
No, I know what you feel, right? Now,
Fight
listen
my
here.
friend. Keep
Hey,
quiet.
listen here. No, she must be the chair of finance. Well, I don't know. No, you can give Mama Rakhale or Linda a chair.
Dennis is very
All right,
young.
I don't have as much influence on this SG. I don't have the capacity to speak to this SG like previous ones I knew. All right, leave all that aside.
Must talk about the young ones, Ryder and them.
Yeah.
Dicolady,
now, Ryder, Dennis.
in the interest of consistency, I will accept Dicolady's nomination as chair of the Select Committee on Finance going forward.
Dennis, you got a big mouth like me. So you must deliver on this thing. I'll even phone you and say, hey, what have you done? But look, I'll be marching on Parliament. I can assure you. Every march when I'm in Cape Town, now and then, I shall be there, marching on you guys. Toying outside there. Am I as clumsy as I am? Okay, fine. Can we move on there? That's fine. Now, Dennis, you're going to come back to us on that one issue, right? I read the thing twice. So, for me, I couldn't see. Maybe you see things I don't see, or Poppy does, or Frank does. So we'll come back to that one. Can we move to the negotiating mandate, final mandates, and then come back to the bill and your issue, Frank? Dennis. What we could do also is refer this clause to the NA if you want, but I'd prefer that we settle it here. In any case, you'll be here in 24 months, right? Now, can we move on to negotiating mandates in Kululeko? Thank you, Willie and MP.
Chair, are we not going to deal with RRR's letter at all?
Yes, sorry. Okay, yeah, we'll put the letter on. She got it very late, and I said to her, you are not under any pressure to reply in writing. You can reply verbally. I told her that at about 3:30 or whenever we got it. Secondly, I read the letter, but you must decide for yourself. My own view is what it's there in my comments. So, and I will write to the gentleman, and I will, in fact, send it to you as I usually do. Right, let's go ahead. Let's finish that one. MP, you'll have to put the thing on, or okay, there's the letter, right? I hope you read the letter, and I hope you're going to complain, do not use this as late submissions and all that and reading. Don't blame Kululeko or me. Okay, so basically, it's easier for me to take you through the thing. But in the meanwhile, MP, will say general things in reply. I'll try to find the letter. MP?
Chair, I hope my colleagues will assist with the reply, because at the time we were busy with the bill.
No need to apologize. I've covered you, right? I'm responsible for this. I hope Mr. Kraus is listening. Okay, let's go on. If he's connected, right? Let's go on, please. Who's going to make the main points there? From your side.
Sorry, I don't know. Just a second, I just want to check with my colleague.
Okay, let me start in the meanwhile, right? So he objects to the length of time. I'm not going to respond to it. I've done a draft was shared. Oh, please. I said even have 6 months more. IRR Legal applied for an extension, but it's quite understandable, he says. Furthermore, SCOF members may not reasonably expected to. He's sort of saying it's tried to observe that no member of SCOF. And then he starts the same thing of the 588 million, which we covered on a Friday. Both DTI and National Treasury on the outside to a less extent. We had in Poppy Daka reply. Now, then he deals with what happened that day. And again, it's embedded in a particular set of definitions and a particular interpretation of what people said in that context, right? However, Willie, there are some things that are said where there was a strain, if you like, sometimes an overlap, sometimes a strain between what you were saying and some of the DTIC people and others on your team. But that wasn't substantial enough for us to change our mind, right? He really goes for your head. Once again, effectively deny the absurdity. Use a strong language. Eh? That's his right. Very passionate, as I said in his letter, in my last letter to him. India was referring to BE levels. The same issue, at unfunded mandates, that's the same issue, not only he raised, and we have put it in our report that we're seriously concerned. The BE premiums, it's similar to what Dennis often says, but it's more like tweaked in a particular way. And his choice of what's called italics and so on is to make certain very strong points. I could feel him talking to me as I read this. Very powerful word. See, this is an essential question of most South Africans, especially the poorest South Africans and unemployed, almost all of whom will never be paid by any public procurement office, but will receive the benefits. Some of it overlaps with what the Freedom Front Plus says, and to a lesser extent with what Dennis says or the DA. Yeah, it's the same issues, clause by clause. See, he picks up on the same themes, but now he's referring to specific clauses. I couldn't see what he was saying that is either a different version of what he said or an embellishment of what he said, adding to. 16 to sites that are not so long. I mean, he hasn't taken into account some of the changes made, or they don't meet his requirements. Look, this one I liked, as such. If procurement in accordance with Section 6 is not cost effective, the procuring institution must record and report the reasons for the public procurement in the relevant treasury prescribed manner. Now, what's your response to this one? 53. I think it should be 5.3, but I know it's 53, paragraph 53. It's on page 7 of 10, as my document has it. 53? As such, there it is. Willie, please, quickly, I think I have the answer, but I just want to know from you. 53, as such, can you see it, Willie?
Yes, I can see. Yeah, as such, if procurement in accordance is not cost effective, the procurer must record and report the reason to the PPO in the prescribement. Short of this, it is impossible to say reasonably that the bill ensures transparency and cost management of BE premiums. I think there's a little bit of, should I say, maybe convolution of two pieces of legislation here. Here we're talking about the preferential procurement, which is informed, is a function of the Constitution. If you look at Constitution 2172, A and B, it says nothing prohibits the organs of state, of course, from coming up with preferences.
So we know all that. The point about reporting to the procurement. I'm not saying we do it. I'm saying this is something that struck me as different. I don't remember him raising it before. That's my point. And if it doesn't go into the bill, nothing stops us from saying consideration needs to be given to this in the second phase process. I'm asking you, what is your reply to the specific thing about record and report?
And then the second issue, I just want to mention that once you talk about BE premiums, you're talking about the broad-based black economic empowerment, which goes just beyond procurement. And I think that's the point that we're making, that procurement is but one of the elements of the BE Act.
Yes,
you've got other imperatives.
No, we know that, right? Okay.
Yes. So I mean, to say there's no transparency in the B premiums, I think it's something
No,
that...
leave that part out. No, my brother. All of that, what you're saying, is things we know about, right? The question is reporting. Why didn't you answer the question, really, with due respect? Must record and report the reasons. Now, I thought about the following things. You see, cost effective is used in a specific sense by him outside of the other criteria. Secondly, you have made an amendment now that does include cost effectiveness and value and all that. The words are put in some legalese, but you're saying it can't be done. In effect, it's not there. That's a subtext in a way that penalizes emerging entrepreneurs who can't match established entrepreneurs. So I understand all of that, and we can tweak this. I'm not saying put it in the bill, but I was wondering whether we can't say, no, I know you got something. All right, look, it's complicated. I don't think I can agree with this. I like the idea, but given the use of the terminology there, cost effective, and given how it's now used in the amended version of the bill, it would complicate matters. So that's my take. Anybody wants to say anything? But I like it in principle, so to speak. People must report. But you know what? It's going to reinforce this view that, like cost effectiveness supersedes everything else. Secondly, the NA specifically rejected that, right? And we put it back in. And there are limits to which we should push this thing because we want them to agree. And I know what Dennis is going to say, but hey, there are two houses here and two sets of committees with very different dynamics. And we also have to take into account, we're not on the NA side. It's not a 75 bill. It's a 76 bill, and we're on this side. So on those grounds, I think for now, we should forego it as any provision in the bill, because it will now upset all the use of language and terms that we've painstakingly processed over the last 36 hours or whatever. We're going to run into 39 hours from what I can see. Okay, can we move on, colleagues?
Chair.
Yep.
As part of our report, would it not be something that we can talk about being part of the review? And
yeah, I thought about that, but can you change the wording then? Can you and Frank?
Yeah, I'm very cautious to put a definition on cost effective, because as soon as you do that, again, you're setting a new baseline. So defining cost effective is very, very difficult.
No, I'm saying drop the word and find an appropriate word that doesn't undermine the painstaking process of what we've done until now. So between you...
Perhaps use the phrase value for money as an alternative, because it doesn't have the same constitutional...
All right. Can you send us a draft? Send it to Nkululeko. We'll put it on the screen when we look at the report. Help us, Dennis. Okay. But before that, send the draft. Send the draft. Can Frank also help? Frank, maybe you and Dennis can exchange, and together draft something and send it to Willie and MP, let them see it, so that we don't spend hours. But that's in the report, and it's the last item today. Okay, so colleagues, can we move on? I don't really think, unless somebody wants to raise anything, with due respect to this guy, he's very passionate and committed, and he's very good. But I've explained, what it is that's fundamentally at issue, and he's got a right to those views, and the IRL exists, and let them continue their campaigns and programs. So can we now move on to the negotiating mandates, Mr. Mangweni?
Chair, just to emphasize his point there on unfunded mandates, and I think it is something that was raised.
Yeah, no, we put it in the bill. Yeah, a lot of
Natel's submission as well.
Yeah. No, we put it in there. We can make it stronger when we come to the report. You make it stronger. No, we all agree on that. I mean, NT doesn't quite want to agree, but hey, you know what? It's in our hands. And we are an NCOP. Our main concern is provinces and local government. It's there. When we come to it, you can strengthen it, okay? Right. Who's coming on is Zuki. Who does Eastern Cape?
Evening, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we do have the mandate from the province. Yep. And it's quite clear. It's for the name of the bill, Public Procurement Bill, number B18D of 2023, Date of the deliberations in the province was 30 of April 2024, and were given a mandate by the province to vote in favor. And the letter is written by our Honorable Helen Souls August, the Speaker of Legislature. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, can we move on to the next one? If anybody wants to pick up on the reports that they sent, which I also looked at, but I didn't read like every line. I got a sense of what they were saying. Right, can we move on to the next one, please?
Hi, Chair. Do you also want me to flight the reports?
Well, if somebody wants to pick up on it,
okay,
we can do that. Okay. The next province, please. E, and then what is it? Free State, please.
Free State, Chairperson.
Hi, my friend.
Okay, it reads as follows, Chairperson. The Free State Legislature final voting mandate to the Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, name of the bill, Public Procurement Bill, number of the bill is B18D 2023, date of deliberation is 7 May 2024. Vote of the legislature. The Free State Legislature votes in favor of the bill, signed by Honorable N.B. Sifuba, the Speaker of the Free State Legislature on the 7th of May 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Who's next?
That'll be Gauteng, Chair. Thank you very much. I note that Mr. Paul Malema is connected, but he's having some issues with his connection.
Oh, yes,
so welcome.
please. Those of you who are here from the provinces would prefer you. Isn't that right, Frank and Nkululeko, to present your provincial mandate? Thank you. So if you're here, please just come in. And welcome to all of you. I was supposed to get a list, but Nkululeko is busy flighting things. Maybe you should just introduce yourself. Who is here from the provinces, please?
Chair, Mr. Malema did indicate he's having connectivity issues. So
okay. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, okay. He's been very good.
So Khaile Kanyile from Gauteng Provincial Legislature.
Gauteng, okay. So who now presents it? Frank, can you guide us here? Is it the permanent delegate or is it the representative of the provincial legislature committee?
Yeah, Chair, is usually the it's someone the leader of the delegation, but that would of course not the person won't be here. So it is someone in the committee, usually Chairperson, the representative in the committee that presents it. But nothing prevents that person from delegating it.
All right, but there's no breaking of any rule, is there?
No.
Okay. So Dennis, do you mind if the colleague from Gauteng legislature does it?
I'm happy. I'm happy if he's got connections, Chair. But that was actually the Mpumalanga Chair that was introducing himself to you.
Yeah, I know Paul Malema, but I thought he's connected now. No, still not connected.
Paul, are you, Mr. Chair, you are?
May I clarify? I said my name is Sochaile Kanyile.
That's right.
I'm the member of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature Finance Portfolio Committee. Thank you.
Yes, I know you're not Paul Malema. So if it's a member...
And he's not from Mpumalanga, eh? Dennis?
Yeah. No. He's not Paul Malema. That I certainly know, comrade. I know Paul. And he was with me in the NCOP visit to KwaDukuza and so on. And I've exchanged with him previously on other things. So, Frank, it's okay, right?
Yes, Chair. Yes,
Chair. The chair. Please go ahead, my friend.
Okay, thank you. I just want to indicate that we did have a meeting also as the Finance Portfolio Committee. Our last meeting was this morning. We then agreed as follows as the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. We support the principles and details of the bill and therefore vote in favor of Public Procurement Bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please. Can we just flight it, please? Nkululeko, please. Is he not
It
here?
should be KZN.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here it is. Wasn't Comrade Two Ways here? Our chairperson. Oh, I thought he was connected. Okay. So here it is. Bill, today's date. KwaZulu-Natal legislature met today, Tuesday, 7th of May, 2024, and agreed to mandate the KwaZulu-Natal delegation to the NCOP to support the public procurement bill. The Speaker, Honorable NN Boyce. I must tell you here that I've had several exchanges with the chair from KZN and complimented him, as I have in another situation, Gauteng and Western Cape also. I found the chairperson. The quality of what we've got, can we put this in, Poppy? The quality of the reports from the provincial legislatures was fairly high. So I really think we must acknowledge that. So Poppy, Frank, just put that in, please, somewhere when you're reporting on the paragraph that deals with the provinces and final mandates. Okay, there's a comrade here from Limpopo, am I right? No. Okay. So who is presenting this?
Limpopo.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. The final mandate from Limpopo Legislature addressed to the Chairperson of the NCOP. Name of the bill, Public Procurement Bill. Number of the bill, B18D 2023. Date of deliberations, it was on the 6th May 2024. Vote of the legislature. The province votes in favor of the bill. Signed by the Honorable Speaker, R.R. Molapo, and it was signed on the 6th of May 2024. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks. Oh, sorry, I thought there was some chairperson from Limpopo. I don't know where I got that from. Okay. Then next, please.
Next is Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga, please go ahead,
The final mandate, Chairperson, this is from the Office of the Speaker, addressed to the Chairperson of the NCOP, the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Masondo. Name of the bill, Public Procurement Bill, number B10 of 2023. Date of the deliberations held at the legislature was the 6th of May 2024. Vote of the legislature. The delegation representing the province of Mpumalanga in the National Council of Provinces is hereby conferred with a mandate to vote in favor of the Public Procurement Bill B18D of 2023. And my apologies about it in the numbers up there. The mandate was signed by the Speaker of Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature, Honorable MC Masilela, on the 6th of May 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Tikaleri. There is Northern Cape and Northwest.
Thank you, Chairperson. The Northern Cape, let's just get it on the screen, but I can read it. I've got it in front of me. The final mandate of the Northern Cape, the name of the bill is the Public Procurement Bill. Number of the bill, B18D of 2023. The date of deliberation was the 6th of May 2024. And the vote of the legislature was that the legislature supports the Public Procurement Bill. It was signed by the Honorable N. Claster, the Speaker. Thank you, Chairperson.
Look, Willie, in the report we did mention Northern Cape, right? Now, I think Dikeledi is better at this because she often deals with the provincial mandates more than we in the finance. I thought about it, Willie, that we should mention that, the committee expresses reservations about the consultation process and all that. But you see, it's not the done thing. I don't think such a thing has been ever carried in a report, though I think we're entitled to do that. And as the term is coming to an end, I think both Dikeledi's report tomorrow and our finance one next week is going to stress that. So, Poppy, can you look at it? Esther, by the way, is on leave. And we weren't aware that she's going on leave. And suddenly we got a draft report and to inform us that she's gone for 2 weeks. So Poppy has to substitute for her, which partly explains the delays because I've had to do much more work on this bill report than when the report comes to you and so on. And secondly, we had issues about, the extent to which my computer is not synergist, not only with Dikeledi's, not only with MPs, but non-Apple Androids. And there are problems and IT is going to sort it out after next week. But for now, I just wanted to say that, I think, Comrade Dikeledi and colleagues, tomorrow we should make that clear. Well, anyway, our experience here suggests that, people had time. They were given the dates weeks ago, and they were given the information immediately on Tuesday by Estelle that this is what's going to happen. So it's not as if it came like out of the blue. And this is something that the DA keeps raising. But why isn't the ANC? Why are we not raising it? It is wrong. Over the years, we've seen that our provinces at times, never mind their limited resources and so on, you know what? We are capable of doing better. The NCOP is embedded in the provincial legislatures, and we have to get more cooperation. What is good, in the appropriation side, you get a high attendance of NCOP chairs from the legislatures. That's good. But this was our first real test in 5 years. But overall, the quality of what we got is very good. Okay, let's move on. Right, so next is Northwest, sorry.
Northwest, thank you, Chair. This comes from the Office of the Speaker, the final mandates addressed to Honourable Masondu. Public Procurement Bill, B18D 2023, date of deliberation is the 7th of May 2024. The vote of the legislature is the Northwest Provincial Legislature votes in favour of the Public Procurement Bill. In the case being there being no changes to the bill during discussions of the final mandate by the Select Committee, the final mandate shall constitute a voting mandate. And it was signed by the Honourable Danchi, the Speaker of the Northwest Provincial Legislature, on the 7th of May. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Fanny. Now, Frank, do we take the vote now on the final mandates, or do we go through the bill first?
Chair, no, the voting will happen on the bill. I mean, we have to go through the bill, but the provinces have actually voted now on the D bill. So that's actually done, but we still need to do the report, Chairperson. But as far as I understand,
no, I'm talking about
the mandate.
Accepting, somebody has to move and second, isn't it? The final mandates, or do we do that after we look at the bill?
I would do it after the bill, Chair.
Fine, that's what I thought. Yes. Okay, let's go to the bill. Now, colleagues, we have two options. Looking at the C version, which is the short version, it just gives you the amendments, or the D version, right? I think we should look at the D version because it's done in tracking. But if you prefer the C version and find that easier, we can do that. Do people have any... Sorry? What?
What's the
Oh, of course, sorry. My apologies. Thanks, Dikeledi. Nobody else noticed it. Western Cape? Linda? Linda? I think she's disconnected or what?
Yeah, Chairperson. I'm here.
Oh, good, my friend. Let's go for it. There it is on the screen.
The final mandate.
I know you don't like the final mandate, but anyway, you have to represent your province, my friend.
Okay. The final mandate to Honourable A.N. Masondu, Chairperson of the NCOP. Name of the bill is Procurement Public Procurement Bill. The number of the bill is P18D2023. The date of the deliberation is on the 6th of May 2024. Vote of legislation. The Western Cape Provincial Parliament confers on the Western Cape delegation in the National Council of Provinces the authority not to support the bill. It was signed by Dylan Mitchell, the Speaker of the Western Cape. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how to open your draft there. You use some heavy technological technique, Mr. Ryder. Can't you just put it as a message, please? But anyway, you sent it to the others to
That
look
was
at.
between Frank and I, as you requested, Chair. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, fine. I understand. It's not meant for us at this stage. And then Frank will confer with MP and Willie. Right. So, am I right now that we can look at either the DOC version? What do you want, colleagues? Do you have any preference?
I think D would be appropriate.
Yeah, I think so too. I was just checking, right? So can we go to the D version? Can you put it on the screen, my friend? And I'll look on my computer. I'm boring, right? So I have to open the documents. Even this one, MP, just wouldn't open. Yeah. By the way, MP, this one wouldn't open either. Sally Smith did it, and at 5 minutes too. By the way, I want to take this opportunity before I forget. She's never been acknowledged, right? But you know, when it came to the formatting, it was Khatija Saleh that actually, the PA, my PA, who's been with me since 2008, except for a short period when I was out of the parliament as such. I mean, I was a member of the executive, but you know what? She spent a lot of time getting the paragraphs formatted, getting the numbering done again, and it kept, even when I opened it, jumping. And that's because of the original version and the tracking system, I mean, the numbering system. So I want to take this opportunity. Can you acknowledge this in the minutes, please? She has never been acknowledged. She does this many times. It takes a very long, somehow she just gets it. She's not an idea. Can you put that in the minutes? That the chair, acknowledged the contribution of Ms. Khatija Saleh, his PA, in formatting this and other bills. I think it should be put there, unless somebody has an objection. Not nepotistic. Nobody even knows her. Well, some people do, but man, she really works. She's a real workhorse. Okay, and many things get done for this committee are processed through her, because Inkululeko is also busy, and so on. So can we move on, please? Right, can we start? Take us just through the clauses, because we've been through the clauses. Frank, am I right? We don't have to go through them again. We just look at the amendments. Am I right?
Yes, Chair. You can look at the amendment.
Good. Let's go for it.
Sorry, Chair. I just want to move quickly. So I'm just going to go straight to the preamble. So
Can I ask a question at that point, if you don't mind? Sorry, Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
So the version that's in front of us now shows a lot of the changes that were made in the second half, but some of the changes that we've made are not highlighted. For example, 24D, etc., 24.1D, and others. Is there a version that Treasury can supply us with every single change that we've suggested since the bill entered into this committee? Because when I was going through this, I think I counted 74 changes, and that was just of this, but it doesn't include all the changes. There's some that haven't actually been highlighted. It would just be an interesting exercise for me, because I do think this committee has done pretty good work in this regard. Thanks, Chair. With the help of Treasury, of course.
Can I explain?
Can you answer that?
Yes, all the changes are tracked in red. What I did on this version is that there was, following the SECOF meeting on Thursday, there was a few amendments that we had to include. They are highlighted in yellow. And then there was the amendments that we proposed now in following the stakeholders' comments that we received yesterday, which are highlighted in green. So, but they're all tracked. All the changes are tracked in red in the document that the committee discussed and proposed so far.
Okay. Do you want to pick this up again, Dennis?
No, thank you, Chair. I'm well answered. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was looking only at the highlights, but now I see the red as well, which really covers me. How many changes have we made? No, don't answer that. Thank you very much, Chair.
Dennis, you really became menace now. Okay. Right. Go for it, MP, and no over explanations because we mandated you to do this.
Okay, I'm not. These are changes that were discussed before. It's changes to the preamble. So I think maybe no need to discuss.
Yeah.
It's including local aligning to 2172 and then also including 2173 in the preamble, and then the proposed clause regarding the BBBE Act.
Right. People will come in when they want to. Look, I read the C version because the D version wouldn't open, okay? So my notes are on the C version. And, but you know, I have got a printed version of the D version here. Okay, carry on.
Okay, I'm not, obviously the arrangement with sections, this will be adjusted according to the changes. I just want to note, I added 3 changes now, which was discussed. This one is the review of the Act, which will come later, which I understand.
Good work.
Then on the definitions, there are, I think, nothing new. Deletion of acceptable bid, or there is some that we committed BE level of contributor, and then amendments to bid committee. Confidential information to refer to PAIA only.
A lot of this we've covered already, but go ahead. Yeah.
Then I just want to indicate, it was discussed on Thursday, is that what we propose is that we just refer to municipality in a province, and that we bring back for municipalities the definition that refers to either your corporate body or the geographical area which is defined. So that was those changes. Military veteran was discussed in the context of chapter 4.
Yep.
I don't think there's any change. Oh yeah, this was in the document that Mr. Matabula presented, the definition. So it's just explained, there's actually nothing new, but what we did is just to distinguish between goods and services that you use for construction, repair, or maintenance. It was in paragraph B, but then it looks like it was also covered partly in paragraph A, which we now put in B, and we say these are goods or services other than goods or services that's referred to in A, and then C was part of A, and we put it in a separate paragraph, and D was there before. So that's a proposed.
Yeah, I've had a look at it. I think it makes a degree of sense. It is helping for referencing at later stages. So yes, I think I said I wanted to have a think on this. I have had a think on it. It looks all good. Thank you.
So you covered that. After your thing. Yeah, because I couldn't see it, but I thought, you pick up things that I often don't see. So, I thought we'll come back to it. And thanks for that, Dennis. Can I ask you a question, Dennis? Given that you're so vigorously opposed to this bill, right, and your party is, won't you get fired because you made such useful contributions? And comrades, I have to acknowledge it, right? I mean, I have repeatedly held this view, which sometimes not with this committee, fortunately. Comrades feel you can't acknowledge the opposition party. And you know what? 4 different chief whips in different contexts somehow raise a similar thing, that, you know what, if a party member from any party raises a valid point, it's consistent with what we think as the majority party, we must accept it. But in this committee, I must say, it's a wonderful committee, a study group in that sense. Nobody says, we can't. Although some people might feel, I praise you too much, Dennis. But you see, the reason I praise you is because I hope the chief whip of your party will notice this and fire you, so you won't be a problem in the next term. Okay, let's move on, please. And I will shut up now. And my secretary, wonderful secretary, our wonderful secretary will tell me, Chairperson, that's enough, I'll shut up. And Dikeledi is the most senior member in this committee. Right, let's go on.
Okay, then this is a new definition that we included, and that was also following discussions on Thursday of strategic procurement.
Okay, yeah, we should look at this carefully. I have. You see, here I didn't like it, but I couldn't come up with an answer. You see, strategic procurement means a comprehensive procurement that aligns with the strategies. You're repeating the word. You know, in general, we don't like that, but I can see, because here you're talking about strategies and objectives of a procuring institution, thereby embracing, you know, I hate that word thereby, but you lawyers like it, or here too, or whatever, thereby embracing cost effectiveness. Frank, anybody else can help us with this thing? It's slightly tautological, but I couldn't come up with an answer on the C version. Where was it? I think I might have started this one also. Frank, you think it's fine?
Sure, I think it's, yeah, it's not my favorite subject, strategic planning, but that's fine. I understand exactly what they mean. I'm just trying to align it.
It's not right? It's not repetitive.
No, it's not logical.
That's what I thought also, because it's dealing with the procuring. Okay, fine. Can we move on?
Okay. Now that last is what we removed to, which is now at the end of the bill, towards the end.
Fine.
In writing.
Yes, you covered that, yeah.
Objects clause, there was only amendment on referring to environmental
Yeah, the one we've
rights.
dealt with already. Yeah, move on, please.
Application clause is we add for legislatures the 24(1)(d) because it will also be applicable in terms of preferential procurement.
Yep. People just come in if you got any issue.
643 is about just highlighting who has authority in the procurement office. And then in 5(1)(b) was the changes to the words developed and support the implementation of measures, and then similar in D.
Yeah.
And then the changes in 2 is the ones that we also highlighted in the comment report today, 2AB, about municipalities, and then D is the model policy. Yeah, and then this new provision for municipalities, the circulars that they may adopt.
Yep.
And then there are similar provisions in relation to municipality, for provincial treasuries to exclude enforcement functions.
Can I also draw attention to colleagues, right? The amendments that came to us came with, the final mandate that came with some reports. I went through those reports. Much of that is either covered, or as we said in the report, in implementation, and some of them may be second phase things, obviously, right? So, you know, I had quite a long exchange with the Western Cape chairperson I was telling you, and explained that, look, it's not a matter of time and all that, but they'd already set their dates. It's a matter of differences between us, and that's democracy. And she was remarkably understanding, I must say. Okay, can we go on?
Because the provincial treasury is also similar to municipal issues. Circular, and then also for them who has authority to perform the head of the treasury.
Yep.
And then duties of institutions to emphasize that they will develop policies, and that includes the system, sorry. Yeah, and then that cross-reference to the measures for abuse of the procurement system to the clause in the bill. It's the heading change, that small change on the other. Here was to also protect procurement office and provincial treasuries from undue influence, so that was added.
Yep, yeah.
then in under directions, that's where the place will be put in. Oh yeah, where they give instructions, unlawful instructions to a person. It could be also verbal. Some changes from supervisor to line manager. And then under the debarment clause, this was discussed in a meeting of Thursday that we should provide for a period within which they must submit.
Yep, that was the suggestion I meant to make earlier. Yeah.
And then this small change about from committed in offence to convicted.
Yep.
And then that the procuring institution must also notify the relevant provincial treasury of a debarment order. And then 7, that the listing the person in a register must be subject to the completion of the review by the tribunal if applicable. And then again, last is where there's someone will basically try to circumvent the debarment by either giving written or the verbal directions. Then section 16, clause 16 is, I think these were all discussed at length last week, Thursday. So it's all these changes to 16.2 about call it the layered approach. And also that there will be different thresholds for the different clauses. And then the cross reference.
Yeah, you put it very well. I don't know why Matthew and his colleague raised that question. I don't think they looked at the bill actually with the amendments. I don't know. But you covered here, yeah.
Yeah, there's also reference to the cost effective requirement and other evaluation criteria in 5. And then that local content designation applies across the board. Then set asides is that new B is what we included in 17, 18 and 19. And then the C is the new provision that relates to BBBE Act.
Yeah, we've covered that here. And you have included all the changes you made based on the submissions we received from stakeholders, right?
Yeah, this is from, based on our analysis.
But you've included all of them, right? The ones that came from the stakeholders.
I don't think we put it exactly the way we they wanted it. But
but it's there. It's there, right?
Yes, yeah, I understand.
Okay, because we'll have to go back to that document, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. From what I can see, I picked up a few, but in case somebody sees that 1 or 2 that we agreed to effect as amendments are not here, or they're not put in tracking for some reason, please alert us. Okay.
Okay, and then there's also in the requirement that when a minister must set targets, take into account the codes of good practice.
Yep.
And then in 3 is the addition of military veterans.
Veterans, yeah. Let's move on. Yeah.
Geographical area, again, military veterans. And
yeah, the clause that the 2 colleagues here hate, or 3 of them. Yeah. One in particular, let's not mention names.
Okay, then there's also again geographical area. And then 17.5 is where I think several stakeholders raised this, that we should remove procedural issues. Then 18, I think that the major change is 18A, which now specifically deals with BBBE Act.
Can we go on? Yep.
And B is again similar changes on geographical area. And 2 is the one that you also have in 17 or proposed for 17. This is the clause that Mr. Matabula discussed in a comment matrix today that we thought was worthwhile making in view of the comment from DTIC.
Yeah, can we go slowly through this, right? Colleagues, can you look at this? The one you agreed to, right? And we agreed to with you. Frank, have you looked at it carefully?
Chair.
I'm busy.
Yeah, Dennis, come in.
So what this is procuring institutions must identify opportunities in a particular sector, blah, 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 and carries on. You know, this is saying, you know, go out and buy stuff. It would be much more appropriate to say when procuring institutions must. It's not a case of you must just go out and blow the budget, but when you've got a reason to spend money, then you should do this. This is actually given an instruction to go out and you know, with a checkbook.
Okay, can you reply, Willie? Because first you reply, MP. Who wants to reply, please?
Yeah, I don't think there is any harm, Chair, in including when procuring, then procuring institutions must think.
Good, because I was going to agree with that, but I wasn't sure what the unintended consequences might be. So I shut my mouth. I said, let me see. That he's saying more or less what I was thinking. I then like it. Frank, do you have any issue with it? The amendment now made.
Not sure it's helpful. It's in fact helpful.
No, I must say, Dennis, is very good point. Very good point. Very good point, really. Thanks for that. Can we go on, please?
Okay, when we considered this, we of the view that that's text that strikes through. So they are not this one, the 5 about the bid planning. It's not necessary because it we dealt with as part of the procurement system that really requires procurement planning.
Anybody want to say anything here? Yeah, I agree, but I don't know if anybody else picks up things as I say that I don't. Okay, carry on.
Okay, I think the rest was just cross references and again throughout removing complementary goals.
Yep.
And 19 it's just a language we use threshold similar than other clauses, the B's and also
these are old changes you made. I mean, some of them are like days old. Yeah.
Some are hours old. No, joking. Yeah, so
that's
it's also
true.
Again, geographical.
Yep. Can we move on, please?
Then on local production content, there's that one proposed amendment that the minister must respond within 30 days to request for waiving.
Yes, we've agreed to that, yes. Where's that appearing?
In 26B.
Fine. Yeah, good. That's a very good point. I think it was Ron Grace, yeah.
Then 9 is a requirement to monitor for implementation and etc. Okay, 19 was that clause that we said should go or propose, sorry. Then there's no changes here. Then on 24, there was the changes here. The first one is that was discussed on Thursday is in the aligned to the definition of strategic procurement. And then the Roman one, I want to apologize. It's one that was, well, we proposed it in the comment matrix today, also from Mr. Grace. And I forgot to include it, but I did include it now. That's why I put it in a different color.
Yep.
So this is what we had in the document. Yep. And then 24.1D is also one that there was 2 stakeholders that proposed must, which we supported.
I was going to raise that too. Yes, correct. Because that was amongst them, but before that I was unhappy about it. I'd put a question mark and never got around to raising it. Thank you.
Okay, then on 25, well, it's not 24, the removal of asset management was discussed.
Yeah, that's the old one, yeah.
And again, I think this 26.1D was also proposed about verifying distance in the register. And then this thing about if you conclude the contract contrary to the act, it will be null and void.
Yep.
Then this, sorry, 28 was we proposed the deletion of this.
Yeah, that's an old
clause.
one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We agreed to that previously.
Then the bid committee system, this is now also a proposal that was made in the comment matrix that
Yep.
we
Yep.
this
We agreed to
language.
that. Yeah, the committee agreed. Yeah.
28, these are also amendments that was made before, cross-reference to 24, the system.
Electronic marketplace and all of that. Yeah, we've covered that.
Yeah.
Unless somebody wants to raise something new.
Then 29 was also things that were discussed before.
Yep.
So instead of instruction, there will be a notice
Yep.
in the Gazette and compliance with other legislation. Then 30, there's no change. Disclosure of, there's the Companies Act change or the reference. The new thing about, well, I'm going to call it not beneficial way, the award awarded to family members and related persons, and then information about bid cancellation to add it. Nothing in the next one. Oh, sorry, it was just the remove of the shifting of the language.
Yep.
The text, sorry. Then access, I don't think there was any changes here. Oh, there's that just correcting the small caps. Then protection of information. I think, yeah, we just added that the provincial procuring institution must also take these steps. It's not limited to procurement office and
all the relevant, yeah, fine. Can we go on? Yeah. Colleagues, many of these things were there earlier. Yeah.
Reconsideration is nothing. Establishing a tribunal, no.
Yeah, those are straightforward. Yeah.
Qualifications. Yeah, it was just I changed the him or her so it's neutral. Then term of office, I think that's also changes on of that nature. Resource, nothing. Then yeah, that I think we also removed the his or her. Then in 45, this is about the panels, the functioning also in we had previously in the provincial sphere of government, but we proposed we say in the relevant province because that would be like a good geographical requirement. Tribunal rules, yeah, we had that where it should be further regulation for the panels operating. Then it's going forced review. It's again his or her and him. Then this is what we sorry, this may have been new and I'm not sure now. Not new, but I think it was either there on Thursday or not. That they must make a decision within 30 days at tribunal, but then the chairperson, yes, it was discussed on Thursday. I should have put it in yellow. But they can extend it with the chairperson's permission. Then, yeah, this addition was also there before to the investigations. And I think here it's just the addition of video with that change that Mr.
Yeah,
Grace.
we got that this morning, afternoon. Yeah, okay. Came now, did it? This is one?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have video graphics here. Can we move on? I don't know how you didn't pick it up, Dennis. Big mouth.
Touch my glasses.
Who's saying what? Dennis, big mouth. Why didn't you pick that up? Video graphics.
Sorry, say again, Chair. I can't hear clearly.
Yep. I said, you with your big mouth, you didn't pick up that it's got video graphic there, right? Instead of video. Why didn't you pick it up? No, laugh.
Chair,
I'm
dealing with phonographs and phonographic things. Yeah, I've just bought a new record player. So,
right. But in the draft you gave us that we put in the report, you didn't have video graphs there. Okay, let's go on.
Okay, delegations also was matters discussed before. to exclude notices.
You're fine. This is old, man. It's boring. We've done it so many times now.
Financial misconduct we also dealt with on Thursday.
Yep.
Offences was, there is just this one change that we proposed today about the opening of bids.
Yeah.
And see. Then exemptions, this was also proposed today that we we put a period within which a decision should be made on an exemption. That's if a request, because the minister can also on his or her own volition.
Okay.
And then the same of similar provision for the Public Procurement Office.
Yep.
Sorry, Chair, I just want to check something. Yeah, we just have to correct the cross-reference you must add for because of that addition. Then on regulations.
Can I just raise, colleague, the cross-referencing is not an issue for policy, right? They will look at everything today. They'll work with Frank to get it in the ATC version, which will sort that out. Yeah, I discussed all of that with Frank in the MP, and that's a norm anyway. Yeah. Because the report that goes into the ATC, am I right, Frank? Hello, Frank.
Chair. The report goes into the ATC.
Right, good. Let's move on. And that arrangements have been made for tonight, yeah.
Okay, then in writing was there before. Then this is the new one that was discussed earlier on the review of the Act.
Yeah. So have we got it all right? Let's just look at this carefully. You know, I asked you to do this so late, and you got it so right, eh? And I was holding the meeting back. I really must thank you for that. I think it was just about an hour or so before we had. Thanks for that. Superb. Right. Now, the next section is Dennis's, right? Because he's the one that looks at schedules, right? So, Dennis, please come in. He's the main guy.
No,
He's
Chair, I think Billy's
going
to take this slot. Billy can take this slot.
Who can take? Who can take this? Sorry, what did you say?
Billy O'Combe.
Billy. Yeah. You can also be a big mouth, Billy. This is his expertise. Can you put in the minutes that following Mr. Outcomes checking on all these acts, the correct cross-referencing, the committee does not accept any responsibility for any wrong.
Sorry, could you just repeat that, Eunice?
No, carry on. I'm joking. It's not going to appear in the bill or in the report. Sorry, let's go on, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Chair, I didn't track because it's amendments to other acts, so it becomes
we've been through this. Does anybody have an issue with that?
So it's a replacement of the schedule also in the C list, because we did
fine,
make a lot of amendments, and my colleagues picked up some other amendments.
Yeah, I must tell you, she's got quite a big team behind her and him, right, Willie? So, I didn't know all of that, and they've been at it. We should acknowledge in the report, certainly in the minutes, right? Can we do that? In the minutes, can we say the committee extends its profuse, what is it? Find the words, please, Poppy. I don't know, profuse, appreciation or whatever the word, strong appreciation. Find a nicer word. Send it to me. I'd like to look at it. Send me the whole minutes anyway. I'll find the words. But I think we must acknowledge the considerable contribution of Willie and the gratitude and appreciation. I want it stronger, but fine, we can send that to the team from National Treasury led by Willie Matebula and Advocate MP van Schoor. We must say that. Okay, thank you.
Chair, I must say I wanted to make the comment as well at the end that they have been very understanding, very patient.
Frank,
and very
can't we just put it in the report? I've done it before, Frank. I said appreciation at the bottom. I say the committee expresses its considerable appreciation to, and then I mentioned the content advisor, what's this research unit, and also sometimes to the secretary. But there was unhappiness about it in the committee section, right? So I don't recall ever putting down our appreciation for the considerable work done by an executive, a department team. He says, especially for the patients. Who's been testing the patients most, Mr. Ryder? Can we put that down as the last paragraph in our report, Frank, acknowledging the the two officials and their team from National Treasury? Can we do that? Or is it?
No, of course. I think
right, fine. So that's what we're doing. So the committee expressed its profoundest thanks, Poppy. What do you want to say? Considerable appreciation of the enormous work done by Mr. I don't know if we put Mr. in the reports, but I think whatever. You do the normative thing. Mr. Willie Matebula, Ms. Advocate MP Van Schoor, and their team. Okay? But in any case, Frank, Poppy, and I are going to look at the report with the changes that will come and are being effected right now as we go through. Okay, on this one, please go swiftly.
Is Chair, the one I think that we did highlight last week is the one on the Housing Act. That indicated to us that they're actually busy reviewing the act, but they confirmed that they were never a policy approved. So we thought it's safest not to put a date in the like they had.
Good.
Water Act, I don't think we just did some tweaking. CETA Act is still the same. Correctional services as well. PFMA the same, and then Road Traffic Act, Preferential Procurement repeal. Then the Systems Act, this is where my one particular colleague did a lot of work to make sure that we address all the changes, and also in the MFMA. The CBDA, I don't think we amended that, we just may have tweaking the language. Well, it's basically they need to cooperate with, the two institutions. And our minister must be consulted. Then on the arms score is still the same. The BE Act, we did propose different wording, which in our view is closer aligned to what we now it's aligned to what we have in Chapter 4. And then the MFMA, as I mentioned, there were quite a few additional ones that we included. But the main one is the entire chapter on SCM, the repeal of that.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
So we'll see there's a long list of amendments. The Electricity Regulation Act has one provision. And then SPLUMA, also, sorry, it's the language, and then the Infrastructure Development Act. I think that's the last one. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, we're going to vote on this, but I thought let's look at the report because it complements and provides a context for some of the changes we made and what we left out. So can we go and look at the report informally, then come back, adopt the bill, and adopt the report? Can I be excused for 1 minute, please? The call of nature requires that. I'm going to be back in a minute. In the meanwhile, put the thing on the screen, please, in Kulele. Hi, I'm back. Remember, I find it easier to look at my own computer, right? also because the text looks very small there for somebody like me. Now, while I'm actually getting to it, here it is. Yeah. Well, while I'm actually getting to it, or I've got to it, can I raise something else, Frank? Is it appropriate to say, when I say appreciation, to also take this up, we say also, I don't even say the chair, that'll go into a minute, but no, then we are talking about ourselves. I wanted to say, appreciation is also expressed to the members for the cooperative manner in which they process the bill, despite major policy differences. Can we say that, Frank?
That's 100% in order.
Okay, that goes into the report, Poppy, and then just acknowledge the staff. And the committee also...
That will definitely get me fired.
Okay, look, you know what? If you don't like it, then we can remove it on a more serious note. Shall I remove it then?
No, I don't have a problem, Chair. I'm just pulling your leg.
Yeah, I'll say despite our fundamental differences, or we're getting fundamental differences. We're never going to agree on this bill. Okay, so very quickly on the top, you know what? Esther uses Zs, right? ATC uses S's, English, UK spelling, right? Is that correct, Frank?
Excuse me, Chair, just
Hello?
repeat that. Hello, I'm here.
I said, you see, when Esther sent the first draft, she uses Zs, organize or incentivize, I think.
That's American.
Yeah,
Wait,
but do we use UK English? Which English do we use in the ATC? UK or US?
Yes, the UK English.
Yeah, that's what we use in the editing I do for others. So I just left it as Z because she did it, and I was too tired to do trivial things like that. So, you know, ATC can sort that out, right? So, colleagues, I want to say something very quickly. What was done here until we get is actually a thematic summary, okay, of the submissions. And a lot of work has been put into this, right? And unless you really want to go through all of that, I suggest move to observations and recommendations, what really counts. So is there anyone wanting to look at before we get to observations and recommendations? No. All right, good. So we go to, what is it, page? It's section 6, I think, if I'm right. What page is it? Let me go down quickly. It's about 8 pages from the end, I think. There's 27. Sorry, page?
14, Chair.
14, yeah. Remember the annexure there. I want to raise this thing about whether we should have annexure B, but I'll come back to that. So under 5.1, we're going to add something like the committee expresses its appreciation for the overall quality of the submissions received from the provinces generally. Now, I know Dennis wants to highlight 3 provinces, but we don't want to be competitive, really, Dennis. Let's just put it, it was the best amendments finance got. There have been some very good reports on the appropriation side, Comrade Dikaleri. You get good report, but this is the best we got from the provinces, right? Against difficult odds, because they don't have the staff we do. But anyway, there we are. So final mandates, you can just mention there, the Western Cape, and after that, put in that sentence, right? Now let's go to 6.1. Here we're simply saying that we appreciate the quality of the submission, that is certainly very good. And obviously, National Treasury couldn't respond to everything in writing. And I must say this, and I've told Willie and MP, their verbal responses were much better than and more comprehensive than, better than and more. It should be better and more comprehensive than. So you can take out the first than, okay? Better, let me put it in tracking so I can put in things here. Please, Frank and Nkululeko and Esther, I mean, Poppy, please, let's not leave anything out. So take out the better than, it should read better and more important. Oh man, my tracking hasn't gone on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I just want to get it all right because ultimately I'm accountable for this report in terms of that being a chair. So here we are, take out the than. Yeah, there it is, tracking's working. I really think strongly that that's the case. It's unusual, but there it is. The committee thoroughly went through the reports with the stakeholders. The same applied to the submissions of the provinces. And I know that Dennis spoke for 33 minutes or something on especially Western Cape and Gauteng. Right, obviously the majority won't agree, but we're satisfied overall. Doesn't mean everything. A first phase bill, which is what we've covered now, right? Need for the bill, here we won't agree. We looked at the statistics. While we're in some progress, it is not enough at all. I know Freedom Front Plus will raise the high blood pressure more, but there it is, right? Overall, the committee satisfies with this thing. And then a first phase bill, I'm sorry, it's jumped up again. Need for the bill, we've covered. Drafting errors, we've acknowledged it's unacceptable, right? People just intervene, right? Inadequate public thought. This one I cannot agree with, and Frank agrees with us, the majority. Okay, return the bill to NEDLAC. The committee also notes, as mentioned above, that NT conducted all of that, right? Note to members now. Here, I know with NEDLAC, I use it like that, right? But, I'm going to take that note out just to explain to you, instead of somebody saying, oh, look at the inconsistencies. ATC deals with these things anyway, right? We follow the usual that's from the letter, so there's nothing to say when this letter was sent to you. Now, this is the thing I added, right? At the bottom of page 16. To create more space and time for public participation, the committee applied for permission to the NCOP chairperson. That's at the bottom of page 16 for an extension beyond the usual 8-week cycle to process bills. Permission was granted, according to advocate, to his knowledge, added MP, because it's correct. This is the first time a committee has done such a thing. And we spent 5 to 6 weeks more than the 8-week cycle. I was a bit astonished when Nkululeko gave me this, and we're already close to 39 hours. Does it really matter if we finish 5 minutes early? So I think take that question mark out, and then it's 39, right? Look at what we did. There, that's why we have to put something in, patting ourselves on the back. Members of the committee also took part in meetings. You have mentioned that. I've engaged for many, many hours with Willie and MP. And we were getting bored with each other, asking Nkululeko and Luvalo. Then Advocate Jenkins' overview is in Annexure A, the one that you're familiar with, where he gave his notes on the issue of constitutionality, but more importantly, public participation. Then this came from Willie and MP about the extent of their visiting the provinces and taking part in hearings. On the constitutionality of the bill, we said Annexure A covers that from our side. Major concerns that we note all that, and we said many of these concerns have been addressed by the amendments made. Exclusion of reference to price of premium in the bill, we said this in the committee, there's nothing there. Cooperative governance undermined, we softened that because it's explained too much regulatory power. Now this one we said, we note the comprehensive reply in section 413. Just check, Poppy and Frank, it's still 413 as far as I know it. While the committee accepts their views, we believe that as the bill comes into effect, there has to be a review of the extent of the minister's power to regulate, and this matter be considered in the second phase of the bill process. I must say, I think I told Dennis over the phone, sorry. The reply they gave in 413 was very well crafted. We may not agree with it, but you look at 413, they gave you full explanations of why they got so many places where the minister can regulate, but we're not happy with it. And I sincerely hope Dennis and Dick Liddy will sort that out. Financial implications now, no financial implications. Right? We even say reluctant acknowledgement. I think that's Poppy's words, I can't remember. We cannot understand, we say somewhere here, why. Yeah, the committee is clear that there will be financial implications in the implementation of the bill, and cannot understand why National Treasury, cannot understand why NT could have thought there would be none. I mean, come on, really. However, NT has altered the memorandum, great, to mention that there will be financial implications. Well, the committee recommends that within 6 months, NT estimates, they can't give a precise figure like some of these people like Ron Grace and others wanted. That's not fair, but a reasonable figure, ballpark and estimate. On the financial cost of the bill, and reports to the committee on this, right? Please ensure it's done, Dick Liddy and Dennis. But of course, one hopes Linda and Comrade Bomarkhani and Zuki will be back. But at this stage, we know at least two will probably be back. The committee is concerned, from what I can tell, about the capacity I'm speaking on, right? In notes, however, the bill provides for different sections of the bill to be implemented. And we're saying at the end there, the committee recommends that within 6 weeks of the committee being constituted in the 7th term of Parliament, NT must present an implementation program on this bill to the committee, right? And they must take into account the sentence above, recommends that capacity funding and other resources also be taken into account when decisions are taken, obviously, right? Then we go on to lack of transparency. We're not going to agree on this. NT says, yeah, it's fine. The committee recommends the things that we do there should put as much information. Committee is aware of the market sensitivities entailed and the need to protect confidential information. But in the second phase review of the bill, consideration needs to be given to the relevant legal and other issues and whether it's viable. This is Dennis's wording mainly, to attend the bid adjudication process or parts of it. I added Dennis because we may not be able to show it. Watch a video. You didn't mention videographic here. Mercifully, of the full parts of the process, whether it be live streamed or recorded. I like the thing that you put in there. Whistleblowing, look, man, all of us support whistleblowing. I am personally in favor of incentivized whistleblowing, but they've published a paper, DOG, and invited interested persons to submit written comments. The committee is seriously concerned about the lack of protection for whistleblowers. Some have been killed, others have lost their jobs and remain unemployed. Many have suffered huge financial losses, and others have been seriously affected in other ways. In principle, the committee supports some form of incentivized whistleblowing to take budget and other considerations. But as this issue falls on the DOG, and they have published a paper on this recently, we do not have the authority to make a decision on this. However, the committee recommends that the review of the Protected Disclosures Act be finalized urgently and consideration be given to incentivize upon the area, whistleblowers being included. Lack of independence, we've been very firm, the majority. It's really just PPO implementing this bill within the framework of this bill as required. The PPO should remain there. I don't think we'll agree on that, all of us. Problematic donor funding, they have exempted for the reasons, very good argument that was. I think that came from NRF and maybe others. The bill is not applicable to Parliament. Well, I think this part, Frank and Impi, we agree with that. Consider the construction sector. Sadly, we have to say this. That it really upsets me, and I'm sure you, but that there's the preventative measures and debarment and extortion, if duly enforced, appropriately is correctly put there, but the law enforcement and justice system need to be far more effective. I don't know what else we can say, and I don't think any of us can come on. Concerns raised about provinces and negotiating mandate. The committee appreciates the concerns raised. Many of these issues were raised by the stakeholders in the NCFB public hearings that have been raised. Some of the issues we addressed were regulations and others in the implementation process. There were also issues that don't belong to this bill, CIDB, non-adherence. We agree with all of this, but it's not here. And then they said they look into the South African Language Board and other relevant bodies for requiring several languages for the bid documents. And the committee supports the proposal that bid documents should not only be in English and believes that consideration needs to be given in the bill is viewed to establish a procurement regulator as either an independent or part of National Treasury with assured operational independence. Now there, we said consideration needs to be given, right? That's a Western Cape proposal. You can ring your colleague and say, we accepted it, Dennis. Proposed amendments of definition of Black people. We note the concern. We understand it, to be clear about African, Indian, and colored. Many African entrepreneurs believe that Indians and KZN benefit disproportionately through the BBBEE, and this is not fair. The committee recognizes concern. However, this would mean changing many other BE and other laws that refer to all people of color as Black. And this review will be done through a proper policy process, not in this bill. Probably will start in the ANC if it comes to it by the branches. Protecting officials, we're also concerned about them. Somebody raised it with us, and we said it's ultimately a criminal matter, cutting across all spheres of government, which must be, this is wrong, must be dealt with, must be reported, sorry. I took the word reported out instead of putting to, reported was missing in the draft I finally did, reported to the police, right? So I've added those words. Then we go to the DA being opposed to the bill. Now here, I'll take you through it carefully because it rejects the premise that race can be used as a proxy for the historically disadvantaged. While it acknowledges a comma should go there. No, why is this thing in blue on my side? While it acknowledges. No, this is wrong. While it is, take out the is, while it acknowledges, do you see, Poppy, Frank? While it acknowledges, yeah, it acknowledges. I hope you're doing the changes there on the text because I'm only looking at my computer. So while it, you see the second sentence, it acknowledges that the majority of people who have historically been deprived of opportunity are Black, there are many others who have been disadvantaged. Furthermore, the past 30 years of democracy have gone some way to correcting the injustices experienced by many South Africans during the apartheid years. While much more needs to be done, focus should be on empowering those who have remained unempowered. Race is therefore an outdated measure. It is furthermore demeaning to South Africans to still be subjected to the race classifications that made apartheid the evil system that it was. Our present government's policies are contributing to racial polarization. The DA believes that the best way for government to achieve socio-economic redress is to govern well, uplifting the majority of South Africans who remain trapped in hardship rather than granting a select few. Many of the programs favoring the few have to date been counterproductive with projects designed to uplift large groups, failing because of lack of skills or malfeasance of the project bidder. While real is essential and fast-tracking the interventions are necessary, the current model does not achieve sustainability as a continuation of the same style of thinking. The bill undermines social cohesion under the guise of restorative justice, and its impacts will be far-reaching. While strategic government procurement is nothing new, the mechanisms entrenched by this bill are the same mechanisms failed to have a broad impact over the past 30 years and which have been internationally proven to be ineffectual. I don't know how it can be that, Dennis. I mean, really, where do we have a triple BEE system? Do you want to say something about this, Dennis? Can we remove this? Because it's not relevant. I just noticed now. Are you listening, Dennis?
Yeah, I'm listening. What do you want to take out, Chair?
You see, this doesn't apply. See, you're saying in this bill, there are mechanisms that have failed to have a broad impact over the past 30 years in South Africa. Fine, that's the DA view. We know it 1,000 times. And which have been internationally proven to be ineffectual. But where else is a triple BEE in the world? So what do you mean which have been internationally proven to be ineffectual?
Chair, this relates to the international research projects that have indicated that projects like affirmative action, which also took place in the United States of America and elsewhere, have not had the desired outcomes. So, yeah, only to procurement.
Yeah, so it can't be say over the past 30 years and in affirmative action, the first type is affirmative action has been proven to be, internationally proven to be ineffectual. Okay, can we make it like that? So the second half of the sentence has been international. Then you point to math. I think that's a good point, actually. The DA tabled, in stark contrast, the DA tabled our solution through social impact. Well, okay, you're telling us what happened, that's fine. While the bill forces a marked improvement on the bill that entered this House, we cannot accept the perpetuation of legislation that entrenches racially divisive policies. Right, that's your point of view, colleagues, comrades in particular. That's their right of view. And because this bill is so long, and they have a right to the expression of their view, but we will put a paragraph in the end to say the ANC fundamentally disagrees with the EFF and the DA. I don't think there's a need for it, but let's make that clear because it appears much longer than when I put it in and edited it slightly. Now, the Freedom Front, I used exactly their words. I think there's a minor thing. They oppose the bill and say the pervasive influence of triple BEE on South Africa's public procurement process is profoundly negative exacerbated by the entrenchment of state capture and 30 years of cadre deployment. While the quality of products and services should be a primary concern, BBEE often prioritize race-based criteria, distorting procurement practices. The Freedom Front Plus stands alone in opposition to, well, that's not true, the DA also. But anyway.
It's not the truth, sir. Sorry, Chair.
Sorry. Yeah.
They supported the ANC in this and also in 2013 with the stronger quota systems. So it's only us.
Can we be a bit fair?
That's nonsense, Fani. Come on.
Yeah. Funny.
Check answered. I'll send it to you, sir. We stand with
my brother. Listen. This is supposed to be, you see, Dennis did use strong language, and I told him it's extreme and he's very conciliatory. Now, I don't think it's fair because you're digging at another party, right? You can dig at us, we're the government, right? And the majority, and you keep digging at the executive, that's fine. I think we should say the Freedom Front Plus is the main party in opposition to race-based. You can't say stands alone. So I'm changing that.
It's a fact.
Yeah, but you can't. It's a report. It's a normative thing.
Why not leave it as it is? I mean, being a leader, standing alone is different.
Okay, fine. The majority will decide on the wording. What I am suggesting, colleagues, we tweak it slightly and say the Freedom Front Plus is the main party in opposition to race-based legislation. And this stands alone.
No, Chair, we can't say that. We cannot say that.
Let's not have a fight now. You're a real gentleman, right? And you've been very helpful, though. You know, you've been very clear. You hate this bill, right? But it's not correct, really. And I don't want to enter the debate. I'm putting it to the meeting. Yeah. Yes. Do you want to say something?
The way that you want to phrase it now, it's not fair towards other parties. If you leave it as it is, then it's a fact.
Chair, if I can just put forward a comment, is that look, this is their minority view, and you know, as much as I disagree with it, and I think Billy's quite right to call them out on it, but as much as I disagree with it, I can't instruct them what their view should be. So while I disagree with it, I must fight for their right to state it.
Good. Anybody else want to say anything? Just leave it, man.
Honourable Chair, if you say the Freedom Front Plus is strongly opposed towards the race-based legislation since 1996, and then I believe that this will settle it and everyone will be happy.
Okay, so that's helpful. Sorry.
What does this name race bill come from? Because we are dealing with the public procurement bill. Whatever feeling they have, if they disagree with it, they must not give it another name.
No, it's race-based legislation, Honourable Lady.
It's not.
You know what? I'm going to put a paragraph in because I thought about it as I looked at it shortly before 5 o'clock. Only I looked at the observation. So I think we make it, he's being more conciliatory. The Freedom Front Plus, what did you say? The very nice words, softer words. What did you say? To not stand alone. What did you now say? Is vigorously opposed, right? Let's make it strong.
Has always been vigorously opposed. We're consistent.
Okay. All right, fine. Now you're digging it. We don't want to debate here. I mean, the Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed. Yeah, but we're going to reply there at the next paragraph. I think it's only fair because they unusually tough. But that's their views. I mean, that's what they stand for. The Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed. Right?
Yes, Chair. I mean, we can add, unlike other political parties that state in the Constitution,
I'm not going to allow that. No, I'm ruling that it's
funny.
You see, now he's abusing the platform.
Yeah. No, that you're not going to allow. The Freedom Front has never happened. Yeah, has always been vigorously opposed to race-based legislation. Thanks for that. You're helpful. Right? You can settle your fights in the election campaign with a DA, right? You've given up on us, right? So the fight is between you two.
Chairperson, Chair?
Yeah.
I know English is not my first language, but I still insist that it should be they are vigorously against the public procurement bill. due to the fact that, or the reason being, they think it's race or it favors the previously disadvantaged.
It's not thinking, Honorable Lady. We don't think.
Okay,
We know
whatever
it
is, but
You're
that is the
discriminating.
reason.
That's what you do.
Because you think it's going to benefit the previously disadvantaged. It should be clear
It
in the
benefits
report.
black people in a whole.
Yes,
All black
it
people are
should
benefiting
say
by this.
the previously disadvantaged. That's what it should say.
All right.
Honorable Chair, if you give me just a minute, Chair.
Sure.
I want to state something to Honorable Lady. With what you are saying, you're insinuating that all white people benefited from apartheid. My mother grew up. She got her first pair of shoes when she was in standard 5. That's grade 7.
Just hold on there,
Don't
Chair.
tell
I'm
me that
sorry.
we
I'm
benefited
coming for you.
from apartheid.
Just hold
please.
on there, Honorable Dutoit. Let's take
No,
it to the
yeah.
political stage. We're talking here about the bill, and you have been clear, and we have been clear as the ANC to say this is going to benefit the previously disadvantaged. I'm not saying that we should discriminate against whites and whatever, or whatever category, whatever race. Honorable Karim, as the chairperson, has said it when even Treasurer Willie said, when we talk about women were disadvantaged, but in a very different way. The blacks were disadvantaged more than other women in other categories. But then what we're talking about here, we're talking about the previously disadvantaged. If women in other races were also disadvantaged, they should be recognized. It shouldn't be about a race card. But then on the report, Chair, I still insist it must be crystal clear. The people must know what they stand for.
Okay, Honorable Chair, if I may, for my whole minority view not to be distorted, I think the issue is the fact that let me continue, please. The issue is the fact, or the issue that you have, or that some of the members might have, is the fact that I said that the Freedom Front Plus stands alone in opposing race-based legislation.
Oh, we settled that.
This changes is vigorously opposed to race-based legislation since 1994, and then I believe that the rest of the paragraph will be accepted as it is a minority view and not the view that might be skewed by someone else like the Honorable Lady filling in words that I did not put there. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, you know what? Although, other committees give you 3 lines, right? And I have given a lot of space here, both to you, and some of the things you say overlap with the DA. Now, the ANC... Yes, who is that? Sorry?
Moletsani.
Yes, my brother.
Yes, usually this is a Section 76 bill, Chairperson, and it's going to be debated by the province.
Yeah.
Usually we just if we differ, we just say no to my opinion, then we leave it like that. We are not debating it like as if it will be debated by the political parties. The political party, we usually say, fella, just note that this is the feeling of the EFF, so that it must be noted that then we leave it, because they will debate it as provinces there.
Yep.
That
okay.
is
Look.
what I was suggesting.
Yeah. Okay. Now, can I raise something? Frank, you have to intervene here, right? Whatever the rules allow for. I have discussed this in every committee that I've chaired. As I know it, we don't call it a minority report. There's no such thing. But where we have to note what the opposition says, Frini Jinwala, I think late in the first term and second term, said that is the case. Prior to you, when I was processing the collective was processing the municipal systems bill, we asked again, and they said yes, but the opposition parties decided that they'll take it to court, right? Structures bill. That was before, that was not. So they took it to court and they won 1 or 2 things, but other things they lost. Now, I don't think we should have been in this fight. This is not a debate, but whatever people say, they have to be emotionally and morally sensible about things, right? And we, on the other hand, as a majority, we can't. As a multi-party, we can't refuse their right to be heard. But what we can refuse to is emotional language. That now, because now I think, not to think we will, the next paragraph is to say the ANC, particularly, comrades, just look at this. The ANC fundamentally disagrees with the DA and EFF approach to the bill, comma, as is obvious from the amendments effected to the bill and the support for the bill overall. Full stop. Something, Poppy, I hope I'm not writing this, right? So I hope, Poppy, you're getting it down. Secondly, we can say that we do not accept that this is a race-based legislation at heart, because it also considers women in general, small enterprises in general, as noted above, etc. And we believe, I won't say we, the ANC believes fundamentally that without empowerment of the historically disadvantaged, as I said before, racial polarization will deepen and widen and threaten the stability of this country. So as we've said before, Fanny, it works two ways. You saying, as is a DA, that by doing this, we're going to increase racial polarization. The ANC is saying, if you don't do this, there's going to be racial polarization. So, I think the best way of dealing with it, and it's not, we cannot deny them, colleagues, comrades. Ask Frank, we're not going to cover this again. We just want to soften slightly, right? So what particularly is saying can be accommodated as well as you. Why can't we behave the way we normally behave, right? Which is we acknowledge differences and we try to pitch the words to take that into account. The Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed to legislation that it sees as essentially race-based since democracy's inception, as it sees. They can't stop it because Dikeledi. Oh dear. All right.
Please.
Now look, Frank, what do we do? We put it to the vote. You can live with that. Right. Now, Frank, it's a process matter. It's not a debate matter. Frank, can we change the text as I've suggested, or we can't? There's no point arguing now. I'm looking for legal advice. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you can change it as you suggested. I need to just say it is, I mean, what you are putting in the report, what the committee is debating and putting in the report is not required in terms of the rules. So one must actually see this as a development, because what the rules require on 76 legislation is if there's a province or if they're not a unanimous decision, and then it must indicate which provinces didn't vote. It's of course, it's not the minority view like we do with the National Assembly, where you have a different voting procedure, or in the NCOP where we have 75 legislation. So, Chair, 100% it can be done. It's a development, and there's you are right. It's not a minority report. It's what the committee considers to be appropriate for each report, Chairperson. Thank you.
Right. Can I suggest, and Frank, tell me before Fani comes in, the Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed to what it sees as essentially race-based legislation. You see, if you have very strong terms, Fani, then there's going to be a long reply by the ANC. And I'm pleading with you, you've been very conciliatory despite the fact that you have opposed this bill. So I'm saying to you, just accept us. We didn't interfere with the DA stuff. Because, there's a fundamental issue. We don't see it as race-based. We're empowering women. Obviously, it'll substantially be race-based. As the DA says, effectively, if you have equality of opportunity, the people that will benefit will be African mainly, right? So all I'm saying is it doesn't change anything. We don't want to deny you, right? We want you to say reluctantly and grudgingly, okay, I'll compromise, right? Now, can't we just say that the Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed? Are you listening, Poppy? Right, I'm typing it now, so I'll be slow. Has always been vigorously opposed to what it sees. That is all. It's what you do, what you see.
Honorable Chair.
Yeah, can I finish? Can I give you an option? And then we're just going to vote on it. And I really don't want to deny you. We can also take a decision that we we completely reduced the number of words you were given. So the Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed to what it sees, right? What it sees, and I'm putting in a word that you like, sees as essentially, whatever else we're claiming, essentially, fundamentally, essentially race-based, essentially race-based. It doesn't change the meaning. You see it as
you can just call a spade with respect. I mean, let's compromise by saying that we vigorously oppose race-based legislation, and that's it. Why not call a spade a spade? I mean, affirmative action is...
Yeah, because it wrongs.
No ways.
Oh, no,
no ways,
we're not going to agree to that, because then we have to do a long
No
reply.
ways.
Here. Right, Frank.
This is a public procurement
deal.
bill.
I told you last week I
No
do not
ways.
agree with this, what the EFF, what the Freedom Front saying.
Fine.
No ways.
Okay. Right. So
you might have not been benefited from apartheid, but it's not the same as me. I don't want to get to that stage and go back to what I've gone through.
Okay. Thanks, Udikaleri.
No.
Thank you. Fine. Fine. Now, I've suggested a way out. Now, Frank, can you tell me what the norm is here, right? So how does it fundamentally change this point? But it softens it in the sense that the point is there. So here what I'm offering, Frank. Sorry, Linda?
Chairperson, I was asking to say something, but you didn't want to listen to me.
No, sorry, carry on. I'm just saying that we need legal advice before we decide. But go ahead.
Chairperson, the honorable member, Fani, was not last week in the meeting. I think that we came in very late. When I raised the issue about BE policy, and I think I will not express myself again. I was very emotional last week when I raised my concern and why I differ. Please, it was not only the black woman was affecting in the past. It was also white woman who was affecting. Because equity didn't take place that time around black and white. Particularly the white women was also be affected by apartheid force. Around employment equity, around empowerment in economic and so forth and so forth. Please, I'm not happy. We cannot deal, please everyone. I support BE. Economic freedom take place in this country and economic transformation take place. That's my point.
Sorry, are you finished?
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you. So, Frank, now I need your advice, right? So, I've got the Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed to what it sees as essentially race-based legislation. Can I put that in? And I don't think we need to vote on it. Fani opposes that, but you know the majority. The DA have got a position on this. What is a substantial change, really? If you, it just softens the word, but your point is made funny. Does the DA want to say anything? Nope. Simon has already spoken.
Yeah, Chair, look, I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, Rule 120.4 specifically gives space for minority views. Now, Frank has referred to Rule 178, which talks about Section 76 bills, but not it doesn't exclude the rights given in 124. And you know, whilst I do think that you know the language used in reports should be always kept to a reasonable level, and we need to keep as well to what is truthful and honest. We can also, you know, say that we retain freedom of speech, and a minority view remains a minority view. So, you know, if my view is that the sky is red, and I want to put that in the report, you know, then that's my view. It remains my view, and scope is given for that view to be placed in the report. So whilst I agree with you, you know, a conciliatory position is obviously the ideal. I don't believe that anyone can be forced to temper their views in order to come up with a position that sits well with the committee. So again, as much as I can disagree with the Freedom Front Plus's wording or assertions, I agree with some of what they say, but I must fight for their right to say exactly what they want to say.
Okay, can I make a point here? You see, while all that is true,
okay,
do you want to say something, Lady? Are we going to constantly have a debate, or we want to be guided by norms? Fine.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Chair, I think what advocate advised us on, is on point. And it's not for the first time that we deal with reports or bills that we disagree. And we've been mild. And ever since 2019, we've been trying by all means to be reconciliatory and being accommodative. But if at the end of the term now we come with words that are insultive to us, because once you speak about race issues, you are picking on our source. We can't allow that. It's not giving the spirit that we've been holding since 2019. And if push comes to push, maybe we need to vote on what needs to be there, because this report is not an individual report. It's not Honorable Karim's report. It's a committee report. And it's unfortunate that we cannot agree, and we have not been agreeing in most of the reports, but we have been accommodative. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, are you done? Right. Look, let me be clear now. We cannot have this debate. Here, we can have it in the House. And quite frankly, I think I've been over-conciliatory with due respect. Nowhere, but nowhere, can you say somebody has the abstract right to say whatever they want, right? And provoke other members of the committee. Mr. Fani Jutoy has been given opportunity to repeat the same things over and over, and Nora will do it on Thursday. That is his right. It is his right to express the point of view of his party. But you cannot do so in a way that arouses anger amongst other members. And Dennis, you know that there are one or two things I tweaked. You never said to me, you didn't even raise it here. No, I want to put that back because I think you recognized what I was saying. We have never before, we are provincial. We are not National Assembly. We're meant to represent ultimately the provincial mandate, whether we're white or black. Linda Moss represents the Western Cape and you, Fani, represent the province you do, right? Now, I am saying that, Frank, just let me hear from you about whether I'm using the right words, and you can help me, that are consistent with the norms, because there's no specific rule on this. The Freedom Front Plus has always been vigorously opposed to what it sees as essentially race-based legislation. I'm ruling that that's the way it should go. My argument is that it doesn't fundamentally alter their position, but it makes other people, African people in our committee particularly, and all of us on the ANC side, not least myself, feel better about it. And we're not changing the content of what he's saying. We're not changing the policy of what he's saying, Dennis. No, we're not doing that. We are softening the words slightly, but we're not changing the meaning. Now, if you want to allow him to say that, then this is what the ANC is going to say. We would like a page and a half. And I would like the meeting to adjourn, and I come back and read it. And it's going to be tough. I said we'll do it like this. Dikeledi, listen, Linda, something like this. The ANC fundamentally disagrees with the positions of the DA and Freedom Fund Plus, and strongly believes that without empowerment of Black people, this country's polarization, economic, class, racial, and gender. You see, we're getting heavily political, but that's what we're going to say. Class, gender, and racial, I'll find the right wording, lines of cleavage or divisions will dramatically increase, and the stability and security and prospects of economic growth of this country will be severely undermined. So those are quite strong words, Comrade Dikeledi. And I think if we're going to allow Fani to say that, we are going to say things like, ultimately, in some or other sense, chosen carefully, whites benefited, whether they were low income or high income, because the fact of the matter is, if you are white, you are not carrying a pass law. If you are white, you didn't have the SADF coming to shoot you in the middle of the night. Not the police, not right-wing whites. SADF, which is supposed to be the army of the country. And you know what? The whites that stood with us, there were very few. They had choices. There were about 300 who refused conscription, as I said. There's Jeremy Cronin, right? There's Arthur Goldridge, well, he escaped. There's Dennis Goldberg. There are heroes amongst Black people, right? They're seen as renegades. There's Brayton Breitenbach. What about the communist leader, Bram Fischer? A man who could easily have been the president or judge president of this country. So you really want us to reply in a report. How is that going to help us? Yeah, Slovo, a brilliant thinker that has a sense of humor that charmed de Klerk and them, right? And I saw in that National Assembly, let me tell you, late in 1994, I was shocked about this, an Afrikaner minister speaking on behalf of the DA, choking with emotion when he said he's sorry about Slovo dying of cancer. That was reconciliation. You didn't like it, you had Constant Viljoen there. What I'm saying is, I cannot accept that wording either. I'm saying, and I'm glad Dikeledi and Linda, it's too far gone. And you know what? If we allow that, then I am actually going to craft something very tough, including the things I've just said. We do not accept that whites in some or other form. You had passports, even if you couldn't go anywhere. You never faced detention without trial. Never mind how poor you are. Of course, all whites are not rich. Jeremy Cronin, for example, also came from disadvantage. He survived through scholarships. None of us believes that every white person was earning huge incomes and, traveling all over the world. You know what? Your schooling system was considerably better than Bantu education, even though you might have battled to get to school with shoes. But hundreds of thousands of people, African people and so-called coloreds mainly, and the Indian working classes, indentured laborers and others, until the late 60s, they had no shoes either. If you look at my own family, you can find that. What is the point being made here? Do you want us to say that the ANC believes that all whites in some or other way? If Jeremy Cronin can stand up and say, I too benefited from apartheid, though he spent how many years in prison? 12, I can't remember, right? His wife died while he was there and the police wouldn't allow him to go to them. So don't raise heavy things, because if you want to include that, I'm going to write a whole page here and I'm going to adjourn this meeting and come back. How is that going to help us, Fani? Your point is made. All I've done is I've said to not hit at the DA has always been vigorously opposed. You accepted it. To what he sees as essentially, there it is. It'll reduce what the ANC is going to say. So, Frank, can I do that? Can I put it to the meeting that this is the way we're going? And I don't want to put it to the vote, but if we have to put it to the vote, so be it. Very embarrassing, very wrong. We're about to exit from this, as Dikeledi says, about to exit from this thing. I have acknowledged, and I'm about to write it up now, the thanks that despite our fundamental, not differences, fundamental differences, we are thankful. The committee, which means us, the ANC, we appreciate the chairperson, obviously, because I had to reach out to you. And you've been very conciliatory when I said, look, the report is stuck, the formatting and so on, and it'll get to you at 10. And then I said 12, and then I said 2. So, Fani, This is not the way I know you. And I've been saying, like a little Mbongi, whatever our differences, he's a real gentleman, like, you know, in the old school. So that's it. I'm not making a long speech. Frank, can I do it like that? We're not accepting it. The proposal I've got is there. We're not changing the content, Dennis, right? So you can say the sky is red, but it's so nonsensical that it's right for somebody to say, your party sees the sky as red. It doesn't change anything. It's your view. That's all it does. How does it change the content of what you're saying? I'm softening the words, but I'm not changing the content. Tell me something, Frank. I've had it now. Really. Here it is. What is the difference? Have I undermined the policy there by saying what is the word I'm offering? I hope somebody's got it there. I've typed this in. The Freedom Front has always been bigly supposed that he agrees to what it sees as essentially rate-based. Am I undermining what he's saying? Am I changing the policy of his party? Frank?
Chairperson, let me rather answer that by saying, in fact, if we look at what that NCOP Rule 120 allows, but that it's as I indicated to Mr. Ryder, different context, it says you may include your minority views. So it is the view of the minority to say, as you indicated, Chair. So I think it's completely in accordance with that rule to say the view of the minority is the following. It just speaks specifically to the rule, and I think it's in order. Let me just say that. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Do we want to put this thing to the vote? Please, I'd rather not. We've never had to do this before. If not, can we just move on, please? So the last paragraph is the one I'm working on now. The ANC fundamentally disagrees with the positions of the DA and EF Plus and strongly believes, please, Poppy, are you typing all this? And Frank, right? Strongly believes that without effective economic empowerment, without effective empowerment of Black people, especially from the more disadvantaged, I mean poorer people, and we said it elsewhere that we don't want the same elites from the more disadvantaged strata. The racial, class, and gender, I was never going to make it so strong, but now we've been provoked, and gender polarization of this country. Please, when somebody who types faster, because I'm getting all the spelling wrong, right? You'll sort it out, Poppy. Racial, class, and gender polarization in this country. It's never going to be like this, but yeah, let's do it like that. In the country will considerably worsen. Moreover, stability of the country will be severely undermined. I don't want to say it like this. I don't like it personally, but you know what? We've gone too far now. Severely undermined, okay? I don't like this. Let me tell you, I know you won't agree with me. Linda won't agree with me, but that's not the way we should be operating. But now, they pushed us over the cliff now. Will be severely undermined. And the prospects of economic growth, much needed economic growth, I can add, but let's save the words. Economic growth will also severely reduced. Is that okay, Dikeleri? Others? Majority Party, are you okay with this? right?
Okay, Chair. For me,
Yeah.
I'm fine. As
Right,
long
Linda?
as we don't change the name of the bill. We
Okay,
just have to say it as is, call a spade and not a working tool.
yeah, okay. Right. Linda, are you okay? Linda? Okay.
Honorable Chair.
Yep, right. You can speak.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to put it to you that the way that you are currently handling this, you are creating a perception as if this minority view of the Freedom from Plus was placed into the bill shortly before the meeting started. I sent this through last week, Saturday already. You have communicated with me personally 3 times today, indicating that you are looking at it, you're busy with it. Not once have you said that you're not satisfied with the wording that I put in here. And I'm going to put it straight, and obviously you will respond, saying that we are pushing you to respond. We are pushing you to put in a paragraph. I do not think that is fair. And it can be seen as if you are threatening me, if I do not agree to what you are proposing in changing the views. And the fact is, as Honorable Dikeledi rightly said now, calling BBBE and affirmative action something else that it is not calling it a spade, it's not calling a spade a spade. So thank you for putting the ANC's view in the writing chain, but I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. I've only changed the second part. What it sees essentially, so it's not changing the meaning, but fine. You're free to disagree. I didn't, you know what? I worked for 15 hours on this bill, on this report, right? And quite frankly, I made a tweet thing and I sent it to you on, I don't know when I emailed it to you, and you thanked me for it, right? And the change I made was a minor one. That's what I told you. I'm not being dishonest, but because of the way things have evolved, the DA was very conciliated in a few things that we tweaked, but the whole point has come across very well. That's what they believe in. Your point is there. So I don't agree that we've changed what you think. We changed the wording slightly. And so it is that we now read, the ANC fundamentally disagrees with the positions of the DA and EFF Plus, FF Plus, and strongly believes that without effective empowerment of Black people, especially from the more disadvantaged strata, racial class and gender, polarization in this country will considerably worsen. Moreover, the stability of the country will be severely undermined. And the social stability, I think we should say, because it didn't need economic, the social stability is no threat. We're having an ideological difference. Social stability, oh dear, put it in the wrong. The social stability. I hope you got that right, Poppy. Social stability of the country will be severely undermined, and the prospects of economic growth will also be considerably reduced, rather than repeating sincerely. Will be considerably reduced. Okay, then the amendments to the bill are to be found in Annexure B. I put that down, but on reflection, Frank, I don't think it's necessary. And you're going to clean up stuff this evening. And we can send the stakeholders, well, we sent them everything. Everybody's got the bill. Is it necessary, Frank, to say that Annexures B would have the amendments to the bill? Is it necessary? Frank?
It's not necessary,
right.
Chair.
Yeah, let's just take it out, because I mean, if they want it, a wonderful secretary gives it, and people have thanked him for his very efficient reply. So this is the report, and we added Frank's document, which you've had since the 26th of April, setting out his point of view from the legal service point of view on the constitutionality and so on. And you know what? People can take everything to court, and they can look at his document, and he's the lawyer, and you know, they can let the court decide. So coming back to the bill, I now feel we can go ahead and move the bill as a whole, or do we have to go through clause by clause, Frank? Can we put the bill back on the agenda?
Yeah, you don't have. don't have to do clause by clause. We voted already with the mandates, final mandates, and that must just be recorded in the report. So the provinces can vote.
So can we have a mover for the final mandates and a seconder? Frank, we need that.
Yeah, before you do that, you gave me a bit of homework with Frank.
Yeah.
Have you finished Frank and I have homework for possible inclusion in the bill. I did send Frank my draft. I'm not sure if he's had a quick look at it.
Oh, in the bill. I thought, what are we talking about?
No. It's in the report. For the report.
Yeah. Okay, we're coming back to the report. Okay, you want to do it now? Okay, Dennis, maybe that's a good idea. I thought we'll come back.
Can you see what it is? Can you please see what it is? Can you please see what it is?
No, we have to see it. Yeah, no, we have to see it. No, we're not agreeing to anything. We're agreeing to discuss it. We can't just agree without seeing the text. That'll be wrong, irregular. I'm saying, okay, we can look at it now because we just finished the report informally. Or we can do it later. But if we do it now, it means we just vote on the report. So we have to see it. I haven't seen it either. So where is it? Can you put it on the
Chair, I've
screen?
just posted it in the chat. I'm not sure if Frank had any inputs on it. This is my draft. And it related specifically to the review process that we've recently introduced. It suggests, and I'll read it for everyone, but I have posted it there. It says, as part of the review process, the department must perform an assessment of the cost effectiveness of procurement, taking into account price, social cohesion, the need to redress past disadvantages, entrenched through legislated and societal mechanisms, together with the effective delivery of government objectives. Chair, I included the words cost effectiveness there, although you indicated it might not be the best phrase to use. It possibly works well in this, but I have no issue with changing that to value for money. So the value for money.
I think let's make it value for money. Let's make it value for money. That was your term.
Okay, but that's my proposal. And I do think, it did come out of our discussions. It's not,
it's not, as far as colleagues, as far as I see, but let's hear others. Firstly, can we go to Willie and Impey? What's your response? And then members can come in. Is this consistent with the bill?
Chair, the only thing what I want to say is that we use cost effectiveness because it's in the Constitution in 2171 and also
that's right. You said that before. Yeah.
So I would prefer, that would be my preference, that we use that term.
Yeah, okay, fine. Now, this is going in the report. It's not in the bill, colleagues. This is fairly consistent with the debates we've had. So can we go to anybody who wants to comment on this? Frank, do you want to say something?
Yes, please, Chair. Yes, I would somewhere put competitiveness as well, because the purpose of procurement is also to develop the market and to have a wider supply chain within your country. And that's why we have set asides for certain people. It's to not just for the persons to perform better economically or to get the opportunities, but government needs to develop those supply chains so that it has more competition. And this is what the courts have said time and time again. When there's only one or two service providers coming forward for a bid, they would say you have a duty to develop those procurement lines. So some of these measures that I've seen in the bill are aimed at that. So I would put somewhere just within those the list that Honourable Ryder has drafted their assessment of cost effectiveness of procurement. One can even there say competitiveness, taking into account, taking to price, social cohesion, the need to redress past disadvantages, and competitiveness somewhere in there, Chair, because that is part of the whole purpose as well, to develop those supply chains and grow the economy.
Can you effect that amendment? Yeah. Can you effect that amendment? But can I be asking a question to both you and Dennis and Treasury? Does this in any way undermine the prospects, as it happened until now, of lower strata, so to speak, people who are emerging African entrepreneurs, not the usual politically connected ones? We all hold that view. The ANC itself has been raising it. It's coming up in debates and discussions in the Alliance. COSATU keeps raising it. The SACP keeps raising it. So what I want to be clear about, is there anything in the wording here, as you've suggested, that undermines the prospect and repeats what has been happening? Oh, price, okay, we covered that a million times. Is there anything that disadvantages the less advantaged lower income strata from entering the economy?
Chairperson, I'll take the first stab. I think it's appropriate, and I would venture to say no. There's nothing here that does, because specifically, price gouging is something that we should be against, and I think the DGI would certainly stand against price gouging, as they stood against it during the COVID pandemic. And I think that if somebody lower down in the strata, as you say, has got a higher cost of their procurement, something that they're reselling or buying and beneficiating and then passing on, I think that would empowering them could still be seen or perceived as being cost effective if your intention is to empower those people. So I don't believe it does.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Okay, fine. Don't over-explain. I think we're following what you're saying, right? Members can come in a moment. Now, Willie, do you have anything to say? Because we are obsessed with this thing. That, you know what? We have raised this thing in the committee from day one. Hey, the problem with it, BBBEE, is it hasn't given the first two Bs enough space. We all know that, right? And we don't want this to happen. But that's why we got this bill. So, Willie, does the wording in any way undermine the prospects?
Let me come in here and say, of course, I think repeat what I previously said, that at SCOF, this debate came in sharply around the inclusion of price. I'm just talking about price.
Yeah.
Where stakeholders, several of them, including academics, who simply said the use of price as an evaluation criterion is discredited worldwide. That was the first thing that they said. The second part around price that was debated at SCOF was around exactly the issue that you're raising now.
It's in our report too.
About the fact that it, always is used as a gatekeeping instrument.
Okay, but don't cover the ground. We know all of that, Willie, with due respect. I'm saying to you, is there anything that undermines what we put in the bill and in the report?
Maybe there's something, Chair, that you can put in the report for
No, that's what we
debate.
did. We're putting that in the report.
No, you can put in the report and raise that issue.
No, it's part of a review process, right? Review means consider all of these things. That's all. So can we please now get any members who want to speak on this thing? I think with the changes suggested by Frank and the acceptance by Willie and Dennis assuring us, and I think he's right. So can we just finalize the wording, Frank? And we have to get this out soon. Now, the point is, do members want to say anything in response to that? As I see it, it's consistent what we're doing. No? Okay, so we're agreeing on that in the report. Now, colleagues, can we move on the bill? Can we open the bill, my friend, in Nkululeko?
Chair, must I open a one? Sorry, I just want to assist the one that we just went through.
Obviously. What else are we going to go through? What are we going to vote on? The D version with the amendments? Yep. What else could it be? I'm sorry, I'm confused now.
Yeah, I actually cleaned it up. So it's now a clean document.
Yeah, that's fine. We agree to everything. We just vote on it. But you have to put it on the screen. We're not going through it all again unless members want to do that. And Frank says there's no need, and we haven't done that sort of thing before. Fine. Went through it fairly comprehensively, given a lot of this repetitive. Okay. Can we have a mover to this bill? Oh, we got no mover now after all these hours. Oh dear.
Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you. Moves.
Yes, I move for adoption of the bill. Thank you.
Nita seconds, Chair.
Thanks, my friend. So what we're doing now is to say at the end, what do we say? DA is opposed to the bill or
yeah, the DA is
terminal?
opposed to the bill. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
And Freedom Front Plus is opposed to the bill. EFF has reserved.
Neutral. Yeah, tied the bill.
Sorry, Linda? Linda?
So, Chair, they will do that. The DA and the Freedom Front Plus.
No, that's the right. No, Linda, that's the right. There's a multi-party democracy. You can approach the ANC to make it a one-party. Right now, we have no choice, right? We've been through a lot of discussion, my friend. It's time now to draw to a close. Okay, then the report with the amendment from Frank and Dennis, we're putting that.
You asked Simon.
Sorry?
I was coming there.
Yes, Simon said
Chairperson, the EFF doesn't have a problem with the bill.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Very progressive. Wow. Thank you. Yeah.
At long last, Simon. At long last.
Chair.
Okay.
Give me floor, yeah?
I didn't
hear
FF
a warning in and of itself to you, ANC. You're in dangerous territory.
Silence, please. Can we hear Nkululeko? Let's not have this debate. Nkululeko, what are you saying?
I didn't get FF plus position, Chair.
I said he's opposed to the bill. What else would he be?
Chair, the Freedom
What you want to put vigorously opposed
to the bill. Thank you, Chair. If you don't interrupt me, then you will hear. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I said it on your behalf. I said it's a DA and Freedom Front Plus saying no. I did say that. And if you want to be recorded saying that, then okay. Meaning, let's hear it again then. Okay, say it again. You're vigorously opposed to the bill. You can repeat it.
The Freedom Front Plus is opposed to the bill, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah, vigorously so. You can't put that in the report. That's not the way it's done. Okay, and they can say it in the House. So the EFF saying they're supporting the bill, right? Okay, done. So now on the report with the amendment from Frank, Dennis, and Willie. Put the report up, please.
Can you stop sharing, MP? Thanks.
Okay, can I put this to the committee? Move and seconder, please.
Honorable Chairperson, it's Honorable Kulu from KZN. I move.
Yes, my brother. Oh, welcome. I didn't know that. Oh, no, welcome. Oh,
I logged in a bit late. I hope our report was submitted earlier.
Yeah, no, we got it, and I thank you for it. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Chairperson. Then I move for the adoption. Thank you.
Okay. Can I just check, Frank, can a provincial member, only a permanent delegate can do that?
Only a permanent delegate, Chair. Only a permanent
delegate. I'm afraid, Comrade Two Ways, I'm afraid. Yeah, but thanks for your support. Okay. Nicola is moving. A seconder.
A seconder.
I second, Chair.
Okay, Zuki seconds. And Dikuledi moves. Once again, I take the opportunity to thank all of you, not least the Freedom Front Plus, for your cooperation. Well, to the extent.
Viva, Chair.
Right. So, comrades, can we please realize that I think within the constraints we had, all of us, firstly, attendance was 100% almost all the time. Some people had connectivity issues, but I really want to thank all of us for the excellent cooperation. Repeat the staff, and we're going to put in that provision at the end to thank the National Treasury, in particular, Willie, and I think I'll write to the DG, which I'm entitled to do without coming here, because I know most what happened, and tell him what excellent work they've done. And then we wait to hear what the NA says. Thank you, all of you. Good night, and thanks for staying for so long. Yes.
Not Chair. Not
Viva,
Chair.
Hang on.
Hello, Comrade
What
Harry,
about the final
slowly.
mandate?
Long live all of us for now. Can we please ask into the record?
Final mandate.
Dennis has a right to speak. Please, Dennis, speak, man, because he's holding us up, comrades.
You didn't ask for dissenting views on the report, Chair.
Viva, Comrade Dennis, viva.
No,
freedom of speech.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Dennis, we recognize all of that sort of thing. Do you want to really say it? Okay, say it for the record. It's fine.
Yes, we
got your minority view there.
Report, Chair. Thank you very much. But also in your thanks, I'd like to echo all of your thanks and also thank the team from PMG who have done a wonderful job of reporting and recording these meetings. Which
okay, thank you.
Very, very useful.
Okay, thank you.
And
So
they also deserve
fine.
an acknowledgement.
Now the question is, now Frank, just explain to me, if you already carried the opposition of parties, this is not a bill. We still say at the bottom what Dennis is now saying in the report. Is that correct? Do we need to say that? We haven't done it before, but yeah.
Chair, isn't that one of the recommendations or something that this part as part of the review process? Because that's a clause we want to put into the bill or not? Am I not audible?
No. That's in the report.
Oh yeah, this is in the report. What Mr. Ryder wants to say is in the report. Did we put MP's draft in the bill as well? The issue of the review of the bill, of the act. If we didn't do that, then we can put.
Yeah, but that's a minor technical issue, right? We've said it that we want this as a first phase bill. We've said that in the second phase within 24 months. And then there is a provision in the bill. So what more do we need to put in the report? I can't follow. We have it there in the bill. I mean, in the report. Okay. We have it there.
Yeah,
the question I'm asking is a different one. Sorry, go ahead quickly.
Yeah, I think you two are misunderstanding each other.
Okay. Now let him speak, please. He knows what he's saying. I don't follow what you're saying.
Okay,
Dennis,
Chair,
I mean,
Frank, yeah, I understand the question. Now, I think one must just be careful that we're not putting in something that's going to trip up the next committee who's going to receive that the review process. So the committee, if we leave it a little bit open, Chair, then of course the committee can say, look, we are waiting for your review and we would like to see the following in your review, depending on what the circumstances might be then in 2 years' time. But so it's not necessary to put that in, but the specific draft of Mr. Ryder, I think it gives a lot of direction and it circumscribes the scope of that review process. So one must be aware of what it will do. It can go in, it's not necessary because we have all the other things in there, but it circumscribes and it will actually, if we put it with the other parts, probably help the DG of National Treasury of how they must, or the Public Procurement Officer, how they must do their report to the committee. Of course, the committee will get that report and it will then interrogate it. And if there are issues that they're not happy, then of course we'll go back to that scoping, that part, and say, well, we've actually complied with what the committee said. And the committee can then have that debate with the thing. Much a little bit like there was once a resolution, Chair, of the role of SCOPA in the joint investigation team in the arms deal saga. That was now 1999-2000. And we went actually to look at that resolution of the House, whether SCOPA should be part of the joint investigation team or not. And then it was, of course, found that SCOPA was not intended to be part of the JIT. And that's because of the scope. So what we're doing there is say, this is what we want. If we want something else other than it, we need to leave it a little bit open, Chair. That's my view. So is this necessary? After what we've said in the report, I think it gives direction, but it also narrows the review process itself. Thanks, Chair.
No. We can't narrow the review process in the report. Okay? So if that is the effect, that's why we asked you, then we shouldn't put this in the report. So I don't know why you didn't say it when we were processing it, but fine. So if that's the case, the majority won't agree with that. Leave it as it is in the bill, and in the report, drop it. Very quickly, Dennis, you want to say something?
No, Chair. I think I accept the view. This was intended to be part of the process, and that's why I said as part of the review process. It shouldn't limit the review. It should merely be supportive of it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's drop it. Thanks. So good. So can we, Frank, Poppy and I, in the next 10 minutes, finalize the change? And in the first instance, okay, let's go offline, Frank. So thank you once again. Keep well. Bye then. See you tomorrow at the Appropriations Committee. And next week, Tuesday, we will look at our legacy report and finish the minutes next Tuesday. Thank you. That will hopefully be our last meeting until we hear from the NA on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Bye.
Good night, all members.
Thank you.